Alrighty, welcome to episode 116 of TOCWA's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla is reported as preparing to deploy about 200 automation and control engineers from Giga Shanghai to Fremont. They will be tasked with improving the efficiency and output of what is Tesla's oldest and least optimized vehicle production factory. Tesla have released a revealing behind-the-scenes video of engineers working on the design and construction of parts and sub-assemblies of its Optimus robot, recently revealed at Tesla's AI Day 2022.
My team and I are working on the Optimus actuators, which are drive systems with motor and gear train. The things in particular we are designing is the electromagnetics, the gear train selection and the parameterization.
Our robot actually is designed by us, leading to a certain actuator design, and that gives us the possibility to integrate the actuators inside our structures.
The capability of the actuators are based on simulations and maneuvers that we have performed in-house that will best suit our kinematics of our robot. Having the design in-house allows us to optimize the structure and the packaging of these actuators.
We're designing from the ground up, which is very interesting. A lot of people are just integrating components together, but we're doing full system design, which includes custom motors matched with a gear train and allows us to really optimize for what we want on the bot.
What excites me about what I get to do at Tesla is definitely technical challenge and speed of development. We're able to deliver our designs very quickly. The key technical advantage that we have is that we are able to design vertically, so we're able to design magnetics, gear chains, and do very tight and compact packaging for our designs. It's important because in robotics, the level of integration required from all the systems grows exponentially. You're not able to grab components off the shelf and start integrating them and succeed.
You're building something from scratch. To see it from its inception of a design or CAD and to see it machined in parts on a table, to see that all come together is truly amazing. We're doing things we've never done before, and if we have the opportunity to recruit somebody that has that experience, I think when they join this team, they will truly be impressed with the speed of how fast we were able to acclimate and to optimize and have something that is a work of art, as I feel, a working robot.
Budget documents from the Oder Spree district encompassing Tesla's Gigafactory in Brandenburg shows that Tesla is preparing application documents to seek permission to expand the capacity of the vehicle plant from 500,000 to over 1 million cars per annum. In an interview with the Ludicrous Feed YouTube channel, David Malicki from the New South Wales Department of Planning, Infrastructure and Environment has confirmed that funding provided by the New South Wales government to Tesla to build 32 new supercharger stations obliges Tesla to open access of those sites to all EVs, including non-Teslas. Although this obligation is limited to the soon-to-be-built locations in New South Wales, it is plausible Tesla will more widely open up their network in Australia in due course. In a sign that EVs are becoming mainstream in certain markets, the Swedish Environment Ministry announced with 1 day's notice that its approximately $10,000 subsidy for battery electric vehicles will end on the 8th of November. This cessation applies to any EVs not already purchased and delivered or contractually ordered before that date. At its 2022 Zoomtopia conference, Zoom has announced that Teslas will shortly be able to run the popular video conferencing software in the car while it's parked. This welcome development will make it even easier to join TOCWA's Ask Us Anything on Wednesday evenings when you're out and about. Tesla is introducing paid destination charging in Australia, with select sites currently costing between 12 and 30 cents per kilowatt hour. Tesla is also offering the same handful of Gen 3 HPWC destination charger sites in Australia for non-Tesla EVs, with access gained via the Tesla smartphone app and at the same costs ranging from 12 to 30 cents per kilowatt hour. WA's EV Highway has progressed with Synergy and Horizon Power announcing ChargeFox as the successful tenderer to supply charger management and billing services for the upcoming statewide Fast DC EV Highway project. And that was this week's news. Indeed, it was. So, welcome everyone. If there is anyone that is new, please feel free, if you're comfortable in doing so, and just say hello and tell us about the awesome car you've got on order or you've already received. And if you prefer, you can do a little bit later on as well. All right, the crowd roared, so that's cool. Since it's late for someone here, in fact, when he joined us, he had hair, and now he doesn't. Welcome back, Chuck from the future.
Hey guys, how you going?
Really good, thanks. Now, I wonder why you might have hopped on here. Is there any news that you might have particularly been interested in, by any chance?
Oh, are you suggesting ChargeFox being the being the partner for the Western Australia Highway? Yeah.
Possibly.
Right.
So the actual announcement, it wasn't the news, obviously, but here it is. This is actually the official wording. And yes, ChargeFox indeed has been selected to basically provide the billing and management of the EV highway. That's jointly with Synergy and Horizon Power. And then just to remind everyone, this is the map of the planned stations, which, as we've said many times, is comprehensive. It's based in unbroken string of pearls from Eucla all the way to Kununurra. So really, Chuck, all we need is for the South Australians and Northern Territorians to do their thing, and everyone will be happy.
Yeah, that's right. I mentioned on Twitter that ChargeFox has the contract for South Australia. They've got the Queensland Electric Highway, which is up the coast so far, and there's a third stage coming that goes inland. And
Yep.
they've got the contract with Electric Highway Tasmania that will have about 20 sites across Tassie as well. So, and they've got a few others around those other states, Victoria and New South Wales. But yeah, they're going pretty well as far as having consistency. We've been able to just have your ChargeFox fob and driving most of the way across the country.
Yeah. Look, I guess, no doubt you've had experience of some of the other providers. I've had a little bit of limited experience on the Eastern Seaboard a couple of months ago. And I guess one of the frustrating things that ChargeFox doesn't have at the moment is any form of notification or push notifications. So, hopefully that's something they might be able to implement, because that would be useful. And I think, well, actually, Chuck, you're familiar with PlugShare. Which is the provider that actually gives you live status on via PlugShare? Is that Everty or Evie?
Oh, Evie updates the station usage via, feeds back into PlugShare.
Yep.
But when you charge with ChargeFox, it does give you the when you have the app on your phone, it does give you the live status of the charge.
Yes, that's right. But you have to have the app open.
That's it. Yeah.
To look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you don't actually get a push notification if, say, your car has stopped charging for, well, whatever reason, I guess. Unless, of course, you've got an awesome Tesla, and then you don't really care because
if the
car app will give that to you. Yeah, exactly.
That's all right. But one other thing to point out is a lot of the sites I mentioned, like a lot of the WA ones, the South Australia ones, and Tassie ones will be using Kempower hardware. And if you've looked at some of the videos from Bjorn in Norway, the charge station just displays a QR code on the screen, and you can just scan it and sort of take the screen with you. So that's pretty cool. That's
dead right, and that is a very cool feature, and it's something I have confirmed that is coming. That will be the same case in WA, so that functionality will be here as well. I presume it's a universal thing for those Kempower units.
I think it is a hardware thing. Yeah. So that's good. So we haven't seen any of those units installed publicly yet, but we've got at least 3 networks that are going to install it. So we're just all sort of waiting now, I think.
Well, actually, it's funny you say that, because I've got some news that, let me just check. Okay, so we obviously know that the Albany car park is being constructed at the moment. That's a side of the Synergy EV Highway dual fast DC chargers, and also the site of the 6 supercharger stalls. And that's at the old jail. So we know that that's that's basically being constructed as we speak, the car park that is. But as far as the EV highway is concerned, the construction of the first sites is happening this month, so that they're actually commencing construction this month, and also that the first 5 Kempower chargers have arrived in Perth. So they are in a warehouse awaiting installation. So that's a bit of manifest progress in the EV highway.
That's
So
good.
the first ones will be installed next year.
No, they're being installed. Well,
Or operational. Won't happen before
I
Christmas.
don't know.
will it?
I guess the real answer to that is we don't know. But construction is commencing now on the first sites, and there are 5 Kempower units in stock in Perth.
So do you know yet? Well, you probably do know. Are the Tritium units going to the remote sites and the Kempower ones in the southwest, or what's?
Oh yeah,
the-
we know that already because the Kempower units are at power levels above the specifications for the off-grid
Oh, okay.
sites. So yeah, we already know that that there would be no tritiums in the in Synergy's network.
Yep.
They would be in the Horizon Power
Yep.
locations. But I presume there'd be some Kempower units in some of the major towns where you have got, if we look back at the tender document, they were specifying, I think it was 150 kilowatt chargers to be deposited at various depots in the Northwest and in the Kimberley for Horizon Power. So I presume they would also be Kempower units.
Yeah, I think you had your map of estimates of what speeds were at what sites at one point.
Yeah, and I'm going to struggle to get that map up in 3 seconds, unless someone can ask something else and talk amongst yourselves for a moment or two, and then I'll sort of concentrate on that for a minute. Actually, we might as well do that. Let's just actually, Chuck, do you have any news on the South Australian project, if they are getting ready to start constructing yet, or is that still in progress?
Haven't heard anything else at all. I think they sort of leak info about the entire network every so often. They'll do sort of minor tweaks on the map and things like that, but no news of anything being installed I can see. They have recently, probably the last month, they've had, this is unrelated to the statewide network, but they've had a supercharger installed in Mount Gambier. So that's
great. Wow.
That's a good gap for the coastal route. And actually, just today, let me have a look and see if I can find the link quickly. I don't know if I can or not. Hang on. Just today, there were pictures of a supercharger being installed in Can River in Victoria, which is totally not what you ask, but that's
okay. We're filling time, and I'm looking hard to try and find.
Yeah, that's right on the far southeast of the Princess Highway, so right in the southeast mainland. I'll just paste the link somewhere.
Actually, I think I've got the PowerPoint, so that's good. I've actually got the logic of it. Right. Yeah, go Chuck, and if you want to share a screen, you're more than welcome to do so.
Oh, I've just shared the link in the thing there.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, I'll grab that right now and bring it up live as it's loading. Oh, nice. So that's a 3-stall. No,
it's a 3-stall.
4-stall.
Yeah.
3 stalls.
Yeah, 3-stall.
Oh, sorry. Yes. So that's actually the cover, because there's 3 stalls there, and there's.
No, that's that one on the end is actually Tritium.
Oh, gotcha. Right.
So
cool. Right.
Another EV Networks one, I think, the 75 kilowatt, but that's just in the row there next to the 3 superchargers in Can River.
And was the EV Tritium, was that installed previously, or is it been done at a similar time or at the same time?
It was installed about 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of the same sort of thing, but separate. Yeah.
It's something I'm noticing, that it seems that Tesla is quite willing to cooperate with other vendors and sort of co-locate the charging infrastructure, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, what's 75 kilowatts on top of the draw of a 3 or 6 stall supercharger?
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
just a rounding error.
Yeah, yeah, it sure is. Now I've got this. Let's just need to put in presenter mode. Okay, so this is the original tender.
Yeah.
So can you see that properly? Yeah, I think that's okay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
so you've obviously got yes, you can see that in the Perth metro area there are 0 50 kilowatt DC chargers. So Synergy's ordered precisely none of them, and they've only ordered 75 or 150 kilowatt chargers, whereas Horizon Power have ordered quite a few 150 and 75 kilowatt, which we infer are Kempowers. And this is the distribution. This is my logic where I actually had the tender document and then basically put circles around the depots and then effectively inferred what the power would be in the different locations. And that's what we think, well, that's what I personally think is going to be happening. But of course, time will tell. I mean, there's not many other combinations that it can be, but yeah, either way, it's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Sorry, where was this tender document from? Just like Tenders WA, or is it?
Yes,
just
WA
applied
tender.
to
Yeah,
specific-
the WA tenders. It's
cool.
it's the
Okay.
government tender.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's already
sweet.
been let, obviously, to
Mhm.
Jet Charge,
Yep.
who are the head procurement organisation. But obviously,
Yeah.
it's Kempower and Tritium and Jet Charge, because Kempower provide the 75 and 150 kilowatt units. Tritium provide the 50 kilowatt units, and Jet Charge provide the 7.6 kilowatt. I think it's called a ChargeMate.
Charge, mate.
And Jet Charge also provide the PayMate, which is the credit card tap and go payment system. So you don't actually need to have an app of any sort or a
Yeah.
special RFID card,
Yeah, sweet.
which is great for tourists because
Sorry for
sometimes you can
everyone.
have well, it's just, I mean, Bjorn has got a classic video of this. He at a time he was road tripping in the Netherlands. I think he might have been in Amsterdam, and he basically had this sort of like a bit of a parody video of, I went to the ice cream shop and I wanted to buy an ice cream, but I had to use a special ice cream RFID card to buy an ice cream. And then I went to the hamburger place, and then they requested I use the special hamburger app, and it kind of sounded ridiculous because it is.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense though.
Yeah. And then the notion of
yeah,
having
no,
a multitude of
absolutely.
apps and a multitude of RFID cards,
Yeah,
when almost everyone has a Visa or a MasterCard, debit, credit,
yeah,
tap and go card everywhere.
yeah. It's like when you
So,
go to restaurants saying, just like hand me the menu instead. I don't want a QR code and have to sign up your app and everything.
Don't get me started about QR codes. We had last week that we had a very short Ask Us Anything. It was just the news. And the place that we went to had one of those QR codes, and
No.
I persisted and I went through and I did it and I ordered my beer, and then about 20 minutes later I still hadn't received it. And then anyway, that's technology for you. But now there's something else that was news too in the news, and I'm just going to have to momentarily
You've been
alter my settings just to make this happen properly. And every time I do it, it's a little bit clunky, but we'll give it a go. And that is because I'm going to have to install a little plugin. So you'll probably see a spinning wheel at the moment, but just bear with me while it does this, because we can do a live demo. And this is the fact that Tesla is now introducing, hopefully this is working, yes. Okay. So Tesla's introducing paid destination charger facilities. So this is a standard Tesla app. It's just on my iPad, but I've actually logged in as a non-Tesla owner. So this is just a new account, a blank account. So obviously there's a few things you see. This is what non-Tesla owners see. You can on their app, you can see the shop. You can buy a Model Y, an X, a 3, and an S.
Oh, that's so smart.
And you can also charge your non-Tesla. So if we just click on that, then obviously it's saying that there are no charges for non-Teslas within range. So if we just zoom out a little bit, and we'll go over to the Eastern Seaboard as if I didn't already know where the charges would be, and you search this region. And at the moment, there are 5 destination charges that are showing as being available to non-EVs, non-Tesla EVs. And if we just click on this one, which is the Bray restaurant, and you can see there that they are charging 30 cents per kilowatt hour. And all you do is you basically plug in and then scan the QR code, presumably with the app, but I haven't bothered to do that, obviously, because I'm not there. And then if we go back, there's a couple of hospitals. There's a Knox private hospital. It's interesting that shows as being private, and on the Tesla website, it's not shown. And I'm not sure about in Tesla cars, but on this case it is, and you can see it's 20 cents per kilowatt hour. And then just the last one, if we go to, I think there was one near Brisbane, search this region, here we go. And you've got the Princess Alexandra Hospital for 35 cents per kilowatt hour. Oh, actually that price is higher than I said. Apologies for that. But anyway, so there you go. That's what is a new development, and I dare say it's effectively a precursor to opening up superchargers, just making sure the system works, which it does because it's an international system.
Yeah,
so
if you come back on there and zoom out. Sorry,
I was just asking, Tesla owners, do they have to pay at those places as well, or
yes,
can
they
we
do.
not access them?
No, yes, they do.
Yeah.
So, in fact,
Same price.
Paul, you're in a Model Y. You could actually go, if you search Bray, BRAE restaurant, you'll actually, and then if you, on your charging map, if you select the one lightning bolt, not the 2 and the 3, so it's only destination charges, you'll actually be able to, if eventually find it, and it will tell you that it's 30 cents per unit. So I presume, I mean, unfortunately, frustratingly, none of us are on the Eastern Seaboard except for Chuck, but he's a little bit further south, and there's a bit of a moat between him and the Big Island.
He's on the polar
It'd be great to be able to actually check this and plug a car in and see what happens. Although obviously in Teslas, everyone got in their inbox this morning, it actually says from the 10th, which is probably tomorrow. So I don't know whether it's actually running yet or not.
Harold, do we know, because at one point Tesla was only open up the ability to charge people money to charge off the HPWCs or the destination charges if there was a minimum of 6 in any one location. So these locations, presumably some of them have less than the 6. Presumably some of them only have the 1.
Yeah, let me just check. I just happened, the last one I looked at, which was in Brisbane, did have 6 actually. So the Princess Alexandra, sorry. Oh, that's got 6 as well. Right. You might be right, Pete. I'll just check at the Bray restaurant. And apologies because it'll take me too long to try and get the screen share happening again. No, that's got 4. It's got 4 wall connectors. So there's a slight counter argument to that case, or counter example to that argument, should I say? And that's the Bray, BRAE restaurant in Birregurra with 4 wall connectors.
I got 2 notifications, absolutely the same, one at 8:30, one at 9:17 this morning. So I presume I'm going to have to pay double.
No, it just means you're twice as important, Nigel.
They figured that in a man of
I couldn't read.
In a man of your experience, you may need to be told twice just to let it sink in.
That sounds like my wife.
Harold, if you have the screen showing up still on your iPad there, go back into the map and just zoom over to Europe.
No. Okay. Yeah, I will. No, I will. Yes, I will. Just hang on. Sorry, I've just got to. Unfortunately, I've got to go back into settings because the way I normally share. Oh no, share. Yeah. Okay, got it. So we're going to go like that, and then we're going to go that.
I've got some good news for Chuck.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Chuck,
Jared's got
some good
news.
I've got some good news for Chuck. Starlink is now all over Australia and Tasmania.
Oh yeah, it's been here
got
for
full
ages.
coverage now, as of the other day. So yeah, it does all of Australia, all of New Zealand now. So you should have the internet in Tassie soon.
Oh well, I've been on fibre for 10 years, so I'm all good.
Oh, is that hemp fibre? Is that wet fibre, or
Yeah,
is it dry hemp?
That's proper fibre.
The copper cord around is not fibre, Chuck. It's
All right, so let's have a look at Europe. What can we do in Europe? So
let's
just
search
this region. Oh, look at that!
Whoa.
Look at that! It's just a blur.
Yeah. And they're all superchargers, not just
look at that.
superchargers.
18 stalls. 18 stalls. Oh dear. It's just too much, isn't it? And then if you go to Norway, let's have a look what those people have. Oh, just look at that. 17 stalls. Yeah, 19 stalls. Yeah, it's just a little bit unfortunate, isn't it?
41 stalls.
Well, in fact, I won't zoom.
Maybe.
Right? I'm gonna stay at that zoom level. I'm just gonna go across to Australia. So let's just remember that figure. Look at all those, and then we'll just scroll across. It's going to take a little while.
You see one.
Oh, hang on. What? Where's all that? What? Where are they? Well, actually, no, there are none, because that's a bit unfair, because they're not for other EVs, but still.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great point, Chuck. And
The only
even
guess
in
would be the
UK
same as Uzbekistan.
Actually, no, Kazakhstan has 2 superchargers. And Bunbury or Eaton did have the great honour of being the world's most isolated supercharger location, and then Kazakhstan gained that illustrious medal, and then lost it because they put 2 in, and then Eaton got it back again, and then Karanup got installed, and then we moved on. No, sorry, Williams, and now we've moved on, as has Tassie. So Chuck, have you got any progress on the Hobart supercharger? Is there any?
No, not yet.
Oh.
When those leaked addresses came out a few weeks ago,
Yes.
there are actually 2 spots in Hobart named. I thought that's interesting, but
That'd be all right.
drive past them occasionally. But my guess is they couldn't find one site with enough power for 6, so they're installing 2 lots of 3, perhaps. I don't know, just a guess.
Yeah, right. Cool. Are they different sides of the road, for instance, so that it might be convenient if you're going in different directions, or is it different roads or different locations altogether?
Yeah, there's one in Sandy Bay, which is a little bit south of the city, and that's narrow. It's an old suburb, so narrow streets, lots of traffic, that kind of thing. And there's one in Newtown, which is about 1 kilometre away from my house, which is only about 5 or 10 k's north of the city. So very handy. So one of them has a 24-hour Kmart.
Oh wow! Right. Cool.
And the other one has
a 24-hour Kmart.
That's it.
Is it a K hub or a Kmart?
The Kmart.
Hey. Oh wow.
24-hour Kmart, and there's a Coles, and there's.
Hasn't that cut down the suicide rate there, has it? Because people can do things now.
That's right. It's the centre of nightlife here.
Well, cut down the suicide rate because their ropes all break.
If you want to see dodgy people going shopping in their dressing gowns, yeah, it's the place to be.
Ugg boots. Yep. Nice.
Yeah, that's
nice.
right.
Nice, mate.
You know
or come to Rockingham.
Yeah.
Or Mandra, Alex.
Kwinana takes the cake.
Banana's got the industrial side. It's got more of the glowing women being dipped in uranium. As Banana. But,
dearie me.
Good mum.
So, yeah, I mean, it's great, Chuck, that you're getting a couple extra superchargers. Not that Tassie is actually that bad off with chargers, and I note that they're basically all been built. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I haven't gone to. I pushed a button and I thought it was working. Apologies. I'm just going to fix this.
We don't have a 24-hour Kmart though, Chuck. I tell you, that's quite an achievement.
Is there one in Bunbury?
Perth's about to get its first 24-hour Woolworths because we want to catch up with the times in the world. It is being built near the airport, which is on federal land, so that's the only reason why it can be 24 hours. Otherwise, it wouldn't be allowed. But yeah, we are getting a 24-hour service at Woolworths, which is going to be handy.
All right, so let's go back to this little thread before I totally wrecked it. Yeah, you've got quite a few chargers there, Chuck, fast DC chargers, and it looks like all but one of them has been built, or at least the ones that were being planned have been built.
There's still a few more. There's so the one with the wrench down there, that's one that was installed by a council and it was free, and it's a tritium, so it broke.
Oh, of course.
But because it's free, they're not rushing. They have no maintenance arrangement, so it just gets broken occasionally. The one right in the middle there, the grey restricted access one, that belongs to the site of one of the state's first renewable energy stations, like hydropower station.
Yes, yeah, right, cool. In fact, there's a couple of great photos. Yeah, right, there you go.
Yeah,
lots of wind and hydro.
Yeah, so if you look at the pictures there, there'll be a picture of the building. It's like an old Art Deco 20s and 1920s style.
Yep.
I think that one's that's an ugly one, but around the other side there's a better photo.
Looks like a concentration camp somewhere.
So is that a tritium? That's not a tritium. That's something else.
No, that's something I've never seen before. No idea what it is.
That's a BMW.
Or is it a Delta or something?
It's actually a recycled ATM, Harold. Recycled ATM. It used to be an ATM, now it's a charger.
It doesn't say on here what it is. No, it doesnn't.
There was a close-up picture though. There's somewhere.
You look hard enough, you'll see Bank West on the side of it.
No, it doesn't say.
No, it doesn't say. It's sort of. It looks a little bit like a Delta. Well, could be a Delta. That's my just pure rough guess.
Yeah.
Oh no, hang on. Synaxcel. Wow.
Never heard of it.
That's something. I think it's a disease you get, Harold, and you have to put cream on it. Is that the same one?
No, I think that's the cream you put when you've got a disease, Jared. I think that could be exactly what it is. I'm just going to do a little light googling of that.
Yeah, so that map showed about a third of the fast chargers that are planned. We've got another probably twice as many as that coming in the next year and a half or so.
Excellent.
Lots of those are arena funded ones, like your capital city ones you're getting.
Yep.
We're getting there's going to be quite a few 25 kilowatt ones, which 25 kilowatt, who needs them? But if you look at where they are, they're sort of halfway between legs of 100 kilometers or 150 kilometers. So if you have a car that has a range more than 150 k's, you'll never need the 25 kilowatt chargers. But it's good for the leaf owners,
Yeah, that's right. All 10 of them. Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
That still have more than 50 k's range.
Isn't there some superchargers there, Chuck, in Tassie?
There's one. So
yeah, that's something where the boat comes in.
The ferry is, yeah.
But it's not on your map.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's just here, Devonport. No, sorry, that one.
Yep. If you zoom right in, there's two there.
Oh yeah, of course.
The public one and the supercharger on the other side of the river.
Oh, they're both brown.
There you go. That's a three. Was that was Australia's first 250
first V3
kilowatt version 3. Awesome.
Is that the whole idea of that, Chuck? Is so when you get off the boat, you see that charger, you feel like you're in sort of like civilization, and it's really good.
Well, it's
like a sort of a myth,
it's probably the most advanced thing in Devonport, I would say.
Well, isn't the irony that the very latest photo is actually of a WA car?
It is, yeah.
Is that Pete when he got lost?
Is
that
no, that's James.
That's James Taylor.
That's James, yeah. I saw the bike on top. Yeah.
And the next picture is mine, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go. So now we can dox dox Chuck. Well done. Excellent. What's your VIN? I can't quite see it. No.
I'm in trouble now.
Dear. Awesome. Oh, that's fantastic, Chuck. That's great. So any news from your side of the world that we might be interested in at all? Oh, by the way, congratulations being Toka's Tasmanian rep. That's fantastic. I was really happy to hear that.
Right,
congratulations.
Yeah. So if anyone happens to be on a really lost and over here at some point, we can organise an event for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, awesome. I
I was
presume
thinking
that when they're asking for volunteers, you stood still and everyone stepped backwards, and you were the winner, mate.
That's kind of it. I made the mistake of going and chatting to Mark and Adele at the Canberra Expo.
Yes.
And they said, hey, by the way, the last guy's retiring. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take it on for a bit. We'll see how it goes.
I actually always knew you'd be an awesome and an excellent rep. So yeah, I was always hoping that you would do that eventually. So congratulations.
Yeah,
but yes, any other news? Your end of the world.
Oh well, trying to think what's happening down here. One of our what would you call it? One of our starring EV companies, the Good Car Company, who does their second-hand imports. They recently got $10 million of investment from Mike Cannon Brooks to expand. So they'll be doing more, I guess, importing more second-hand cars, but also new cars, any models that aren't available in Australia. And yeah, they're running bulk buys all around Victoria and New South Wales now. It's pretty exciting. They were just a tiny company who just thought they'd give it a go, and so yep.
Where are they sourcing? Which market are they sourcing the cars from? Is it Japan or
Japan and the UK as well?
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Excellent.
They were originally just Leafs, and then they'd be having a new dealer for Ionics and Konas and things like that. So.
Oh, really? So they're going to be grey importing second-hand Konas?
Yeah.
Wow, awesome.
I think so. Because they've mentioned it. Yeah.
Because we could do with some well-priced Konas because they're rather dear at the moment and hard to get.
Yeah, that happens.
And Ionics are even worse. I think, what is it, 200 in a batch for all of Australia?
Oh, less
and
than
they
that,
sell out, or maybe less than, yeah.
They're always allocated to certain postcodes, and I think Northern Territory hasn't got any yet, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of events in Tassie, we actually have an event planned for the January AVA branch meeting. We're all going up to a place called Sheffield in the northwest of Tassie, and we're visiting a farm owned by a guy called Simon Hackett, who you probably familiar with.
Yes,
very well known.
Yeah, yeah. So for those who don't know, he was the first roadster owner in Australia. And he's got an electric glider. He has a couple of Model S's, and his farm runs on solar and the Redflow zinc bromine batteries. So he's into all that stuff. So we're having a bit of a tour of the farm before the meeting in January. So that'll be fun.
So Chuck, I don't see an orange pin at where he's at. So what gives?
There is a green one though. if you put the Tesla destination charges on there, you'll see green pin there.
Ah, fantastic.
They have sort of like a farm stay accommodation type setup. So yeah, so for the visitors. Yep.
Awesome. And what date's that, Chuck?
It's the week of Australia Day. Not sure exactly. Late January.
Okay, cool. So is it on the? Do you know which day of the week? It'd be the weekend, like a Saturday or something like.
Actually, it is the Wednesday.
The Wednesday. So that would be Wednesday, the 25th of January.
That's it. So I can don't need to be working next day. It's always handy.
Fantastic. Well, I hope it's a great success. It certainly deserves to be, and it sounds like a great spot to be and celebrate EVs, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a local celebrity in the area because we don't get that very often.
Oh, look, you're all celebrities, Chuck. I mean, you're a celebrity amongst our company, so we're happy to have you on. As a man from the future.
That's it. It's not the 10th yet, but getting close.
Exactly. Now, I did have a quick question from Damo, who was asking about if anyone has, well, anyone else, because presumably he has, lost cruise control and autopilot since getting software update 2022.40.4.1. So I wonder if anyone in the room or anyone's heard of that. losing cruise control and autopilot. I mean, the thing that comes to my mind instantly is, have you turned it back on? It might have turned itself off, and there is a setting. There is a setting under the menu item for autopilot and and traffic aware cruise control. So it might have inadvertently turned itself off. So give that a go, Damo, unless anyone else has had some other experience. Or not.
Yeah, I think
I don't think anybody's got the .1 version.
No, I haven't
yet,
got the
have
.1
they?
yet. No, I'm still 3.9.
I'm on 40.4.
I'll just check.
I'll check as well.
Yeah, I've got 40.4 as well with no other suffix.
I've got 36.6.
Yeah, just 4.
Yeah, I'm on
But
40.4.
in saying that, I don't have a 24-hour Kmart either. But you know, I'm willing to live with that. You know what I mean? I'm willing to work on that. You know?
I did say with the 40 one, my autopilot seems to be a little bit more stressing about cars and stuff. It seems to break a bit more than it used to.
It's very
So-
sensitive. Yes. It's,
Yeah.
Have you
That's the
also
word.
noticed a slight improvement in the auto high beam when you're doing enhanced autopilot and what have you at night? Once
still-
I got it, I was actually driving home one night and it's better. It's still not perfect, but it seems to have improved.
Yeah, Damon was telling me that the other day at the car show. That was better.
Yeah, right. That's really interesting. I've stopped knowing what happens with auto high beam because I've got a sexy button that turns that off automatically.
Oh.
Don't want to skite about it, but it's awesome. It really is. I'll show you a video that I tweeted out if I can find it.
Is that in the adult section? I mean, it's after 9 o'clock. Or?
Yeah, something like that. I'll bring it up. Yeah, I didn't do that many. Oh, here we go. This is the. I'll just
Speaking
get
of
the video,
speaking of
get
good
the
looking,
video up.
Harold.
So this is. So hang on 2 seconds, Jared. So this is it here. Double click engage, and if you look, I'm just gonna freeze. I'm gonna pause it, and you can actually see when it actually suppresses it. So it's going to wind back to where it starts, right here. So it hasn't started yet. It's just turned on, and then very briefly see the auto high beam symbol, but then almost instantaneously you can already see the light settings have come up, and then it gets turned off and suppressed just in a split second from engaging it. So that's because the Sexy Buttons has a CAN bus interface, and it's always listening to the CAN bus. And as soon as it detects that you've activated autopilot, it turns off auto high beam, sort of automatically, but in a sense manually, which is much better than tap, tap, push, which, you know, we all have learnt to do with boring monotony or repetitive,
So
repetition.
you're saying, Harold, that sexy buttons is the way to go?
Well, when I tweeted out, and I did say, you know, if you're sick of tap, tap, push trademark, and that's just a joke, to turn on the autopilot, then use Sexy Buttons. And then I said, you know, next step, please turn off auto wipers. Well, they actually replied, and somewhere they replied. How do you get replies?
Neil,
Oh, here we go,
that's
replies.
on the
Sorry. I think that one actually got a reply. Anyway, that's going to be boring. I'll look for it in the background, but they basically did reply. I think they're called E-Enhance or something like that, or Auto, I forget the name now, or N or ENH or Enhanced Auto. And they actually replied saying that that's the next thing they're working on is turning off auto wipers, which will just make Sexy Buttons super compelling as an offering. Although
Does
they
that
are
mean they're going
about
to have to change the name, Harold, to Hot Sexy Buttons? Or they just keep it at Sexy Buttons?
sexiest buttons, I dare say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's going to be a compelling offering. Although it does cost, I think it's about $300 or $400. It's not cheap. But you do actually get the Sexy Buttons, which you can do other things with. So, for example, if you've got a Type 2 cable, Type 2 cable, and obviously doesn't have the Tesla button on top, you can just double side tape a sexy button on the head of the plug, and then when you press it, it will stop charging and open your charge port door and whatever, unlock your connector. So there are other things you can do with your sexy buttons. They've also got a mode whereby if you do one single press, you can get the indicators to do, the hazards to do 3 flashes, which is a bit like a overtaking thank you sort of gesture. So yeah, they can do quite a few different things.
Very good.
Apart from auto high beams and soon to come auto wiper suppression, which is what I'm really waiting for.
There you go.
Cool.
There you go. So has anyone got any questions, especially if you're new, or even more if you haven't got a Tesla yet?
Someone has their hand up.
Oh, yes, Andrew. Sorry, yes.
G'day.
Sorry, I missed you there.
No, that's right. How are you all?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Yourself?
Good. Hey, yeah, really good. It's been a while. I watched the YouTube videos back every now and again, but I haven't been on live for ages now. So, but no, things are going good. We're just still amazingly in love with the car. We'll clock over about 35,000 Ks in our first 12 months in a couple of weeks. So that's good. Got plenty of miles into it. But we just recently, and I don't know if it's since the latest software update, we've got a 15 amp circuit and we're using the 15 amp ponytail, and it's been charging really good 15 amp overnight. You know, it doesn't matter what we're down to, we almost get full charge by morning. But just the last week and a half or so, I've noticed that the car's not charged anywhere near what I thought it would have been. And I've checked the app and it's down to 7 amps. So I unplug, turn it off, turn it back on, plug it back in, it goes up to 15 and then starts charging. But at some point later, and I haven't worked out how much time that takes, it will drop back down to 7.
Yep. So,
and I did have the problem before when I was charging, and I'd set it to 8 at the home and it automatically changed to 8, but I'd wiped that out and restarted and was getting 15 all the time. But just recently it's changed and it keeps dropping down to 7.
Yep. So the most common reason would be if it thinks the head, the actual pins or the plug, is getting hot, and it can get hot in 2 ways. It's because there's a bit of a dicky connection to the to the socket, and it is pulling a decent amount of current through those pins. So it can either be that there's a bit of a crappy connection and maybe just sort of vigorously plugging it in and out might sort of clear a little bit of dirt or something like that. Or if you happen to be, if it's on the outside during the daytime and it's sunny and the head of the plug is being bathed by direct sunlight for an extended time, that could, because it's black, it can actually then cause it to just heat up naturally. And then the temperature sensor inside the head, it senses an increased temperature. And then what happens is the UMC tells the car to draw less power, so as not to keep it hot.
Okay, all right. Well, there could be an issue there. It is in the shade all the time, but it is outside in a carport and it's exposed. So they could have got some dirt or grime or a spider web or something in there that's causing to heat up. So that, yeah, we'll definitely get that one checked out. Is there any other potential causes?
That's it. So clearly you've used the 15 amp tail and you've proven that it is 15 amps.
Yes.
There are batches. Oh, that's a little bit of bad news too. I don't think I've actually mentioned this, and it's not fantastic, I'm afraid. But Tesla used to have an issue where quite a few cars came out with tails that were marked 8 and 12 amps respectively, instead of 10 and 15 amps. And that became a bit of an issue. And then a couple of people actually ordered, well, one in particular ordered 2 lots of UMC, and both times got an 8 and a 10. These are brand new, only a couple of months ago, and got 8 and 12 amp tails, which eventually Tesla was convinced to swap it out and replace it with 12 and 15 amp tails. The depressing news at the moment, and it's not fantastic to be perfectly honest, is that if we go to the Australian Tesla shop, and this is a little bit, I think I surmise why this might be done. And if it's true, I'm not particularly happy about it. Sorry, and that's this UMC. And if we click on it, it actually now, they are officially calling it 8 amps and 12 amps. Now, my mischievous self surmises that perhaps that's because they've got a stock of these in head office or wherever they're in Alexandria or wherever their Australian stock is, and they're trying to exit that stock. And of course, as long as they sell it and you click on here, add to cart, reading that it's 8 and 12 amps, then you won't have much to complain about. So just so that everyone knows, I'll just get off this for a second, that it's not a fluke. I actually went into archive.org because that's a great place to see what things used to be. And if you just paste in that web page, it will come out with a couple of hits. The hit on the 4th of November was me. I actually pushed a capture so that then at least we know that on the 4th of November, that's when they were offering them as 8 and 12 amps. But if we go back to the 22nd of July, then that same item was actually publicized as, and we're just waiting for it to load, 10 and 15 amps. Whoops, sorry, there it is, 10 and 15. So, like I said, it's not fantastic, but that's what seems to have happened. So there you go. Just caveat emptor there, buyer beware. However, if your car... Go, Pete.
I was just going to say there could be another theory. So it could be that they have genuinely run out of stock, and all they could get in, all they had was the old stock. So they thought, well, we're out of the existing stock, so might as well sell this. Better to have 8 and 12 amps than nothing at all. So could be that, or
you're a generous man, but look, if you're in a judge and if you're a jury in a trial, I guess that's plausible.
Yeah,
it's
bullshit.
It's not beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah, definitely bullshit. I smell bullshit. I smell the first. They're just trying to offload them. No question about it. Just trying to offload them. Let's get them out. Most people don't know the difference between 8 amps and 10 amps. They've got no idea. So what? They don't care. It's a plug. They plug it in. So, Harold's right.
The annoying thing is when they were marked 10 and 15 amps and they came out as formatted as 8 and 12, you could actually fix it yourself. And Nigel's actually done a video on that on his Grumpy Old Man YouTube channel.
I think Western Power wanted to talk to him about that one.
And it does work very well. And in fact, I did it myself on the UMC that came with my Y, and it was 8 and 12 amps. So I could fix that myself as well. Actually, I haven't done it. I've just noticed that it is at 8 and 12. But yeah, the only reason is either old stock that they're trying to shift, or perhaps as Peter's suggesting, they don't have any other stock, so they might as well offer that. And perhaps magically in a few weeks' time, when the new stock arrives, it will revert to 12 and 15 amps, 10 and 15. But anyway, it's always good to be fair and balanced and to call out when things aren't ideal. All right, has anyone else got any other questions? Oh, sorry, someone asked me, did you say your Model Y came with... No, my Model Y came with plugs marked 10 and 15, but the the UMC was putting out 8 and 12 respectively. But all you need to do is have a car that's reasonably charged, set the charge level to less than the current battery level so that the car wouldn't actually start charging when you plug it in. You just plug in the UMC, close the car, walk away, and within anywhere from between just a few seconds to 1 or 2 minutes, provided your car's not charging. So don't sit in the car with the aircon running, because the car actually will draw a little bit of power. It effectively draws 1 or so amps just to offset the air conditioner and any other current draw. Just walk away from the car, and within a few seconds to a minute or two, it'll automatically be reprogrammed or be programmed to the correct current, which is 10 or 15 amps. And I think Grumpy Old Man has just put in a YouTube video. How long does it go for, Nigel?
It's 11 minutes 20 seconds
Oh.
approximately.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna do you a.
Have you got one of these?
Oh, do we?
It's a UMC. They used to come with the car, but now you've got to purchase them. They come with a 10 and 15 amp tail, but you only get 8 and 12 sometimes. Here's how to fix it. When you get the pack open, you've got 2 of these in there. This end goes into the UMC, and these are the tails that go into the plug. One's supposedly a 10 amp, and the other's 15 amp. The 15 amp one has earth, and that is labelled 12 amps. You cannot alter that back up to 15. So you've got to make sure it's labelled 10 or 15, and then we can adjust them. All right, so here I am in the back of my Model Y, and I've got my UMC out, which has got the Type 2 adapter on it, and
move it forward a bit.
I've got my 10 amp. So it's powered on, green lights are on. There's a green light appeared here, so I'll just check what's happening. It should only take a couple of minutes. So we're going to leave it a few minutes and come back and see whether it'll charge at 10 amps. That was interesting. I had the slider down to 50%, as I showed you, and stopped it charging. You have to disconnect the plug and wait a little while and then plug it back in. And nothing happened. It sat at 0 to 8 amps. Well, actually, it was using 1 amp or 2 amps of 8 amps. So it was actually the car, because I got the doors open and the boot up, the car was using power, so it was not reprogramming the UMC. At least that's what I now believe. So what I did, I locked the car up, put the boot down, closed all the doors, shut it down, locked it. Nothing was being drained. And then all of a sudden, after literally 30 seconds, maybe a minute, the UMC, the lights all came on, they went off, and the T was flashing on and off. The car started to make some clunking sounds. And then when I checked in the app, it was still 8 amps. After about another 30 seconds, I checked on the app, 10 amps, 0 to 10 amps. So now.
And now it's fixed.
Can you,
Good job,
you make
Nigel.
him sound like the
I
chipmunks?
speak very
eh?
quickly, don't I? It's very sorry.
Unfortunately,
And
YouTube
the-
doesn't have a 3 times speed. It'd be awesome if it did.
I'd sound like a bloody
Yeah.
chipmunk.
Sound
There's hands up, Harold.
Oh,
Ian.
Sorry, Ian. Go, Ian.
Hey, Harold. Thanks for your passion. Thanks for your knowledge and for the collective sort of Tesla wisdom within the group. It's we always learn a lot. My wife, I think last time we jumped on, we were just getting a Y, and so my wife's got her her Y, and I've got mine on the way. It's arriving shortly, but I've got a 3, and I'm looking to move that on. And just wondering sort of for advice on, where to actually get pricing. And I bought the full self-driving with it, and that doesn't come up on, it doesn't come up on car sales. And so it sort of looks like I possibly would be overpricing it if I put it on. It comes up about 2 or 3 clicks down, if you know what I mean, as an option. And so it looks like, this car, if you compare it with the same year, it suddenly looks like it's a whole lot more, because I'm, of course, factoring that in. So I'm just wondering if anybody's got any advice on that. Yeah.
Oh, I've got a Model 3 for sale as well with full self-driving, if anybody wants it.
And Nigel will sell it for $1 less than Ian. Right. So what am I bid?
I'll
Ian,
give you
I guess
2 Tesla shares.
Ooh, that's cheap. You're being very cheap there,
I know.
Paul.
I'm being an asshole. Don't worry.
So Nigel, sorry, not Nigel. Ian, the first suggestion is take a number, because there's lots of people selling their 3s. but don't fret about it too much. Yeah, I get your point, because I'm actually in the process of selling an S, and it's also got full self-driving, and it's not really that well highlighted in car sales. But just make sure you highlight it in the description early on, because you're going to sell this car to two different types of people. Those that know nothing about Tesla at all, and they probably won't really understand what full self-driving is, but just try and describe it the best way you can. And also current Tesla owners, either of an old S or an X, or maybe of a 3, that want to get a second car for the family. So they will obviously clearly understand, what FSD is, but just highlight in your description that was worth $10,100, or currently costs $10,100, and see how it goes.
Okay, thanks for that.
Or
yeah, you're not going to get too many inquiries. I put mine up and I've dropped the price to a reasonably low amount, and I have got nobody interested. Even people like John Hughes, they go, "Oh, do you want us to buy your car?" I said, "Yes." And then they said, "Okay, we'll phone you back." And they phoned back the next day and said, "No, we've got too many. We don't want it. Goodbye."
Wow.
I think they front run a bit, and I think they're getting a bit burnt just quietly. Because there was a little time when they were just making tons of money. Like, people were spending 8-10 grand more than the going price just to get it today, as opposed to in a few months'
Two
time.
Model Ys for sale on Scarborough Beach Road, just down the road from Tesla, and they're up for 91 or 92,000 plus on roads.
No,
They're
they're
a
not.
standard range Model Y in white with black seats. I mean, they got rocks in their head.
So you're mine for that.
Yeah, I'll sell mine for that too. I'll sell anything for that almost. It's pretty bad. It's unfortunately Tesla weren't able to cut that off at the knees. I don't know if anyone, obviously, Jared, you know that I listen to the ABC every now and then. And
only when
to
you're
my
driving, Harold.
well, to my disappointment, I heard Christine, what's her name? The lady that does the afternoon program. Sorry, not afternoons. Yeah, afternoon program. She actually said that a friend of hers makes a living. This is on radio. This is the only way I heard it. Makes a living by ordering Teslas and then selling them when they arrive. And I thought, ouch.
That's disgusting.
That wasn't a fantastic thing to hear on the wireless.
No, it's not good at all.
Particularly since Tesla's sales terms and conditions very explicitly say that they have a contract with an end buyer, and that they don't intend, these cars aren't intended for immediate resale.
They'll catch up to them.
Well, I hope so.
She was an unintentional whistleblower then.
She was, and she blew it. She blew it pretty loudly because it was on the wireless, And I dare say, at least
though, when you're listening, weren't you, Harold?
Well. I mean, look, I was.
You're not let her drive.
I wasn't driving. Elon was driving. Because Elon always drives, because we're besties. But yeah, so anyway, so Ian, just persist. Look, I hate selling cars. I always get insulted by the first person that offers me a low price, and then 3 months later I end up selling it for a fair bit less than that. So, it's just a process, mate.
You got insurance, haven't you? You got insurance, so you could just park it like on a train track or something by accident.
No, do not endorse that.
I'm just saying you could leave it,
Hang on, Jared. I think we need to play this.
The previous comments were general in nature and shouldn't be taken as personal professional advice. Listeners should seek their own independent assessment from a qualified advisor and not rely on the general nature of information in this program.
Particularly from someone who is a so
there you go. Love it.
So let's not do an insurance job live on YouTube.
Oh, definitely not. No, let's not live on.
Unless it's live streamed. Unless it's live streamed and goes viral, and then it would be worth it.
Yeah. We'd have to go to Broome or somewhere like that where it'd just be another night out. But I think we can do it there.
Yes. Yes.
It's a bit hard to leave the keys in the car, though.
Yeah. That would be a TikTok night, wouldn't it?
Well, actually, how's this? I'm going to out him because I don't think he's going to mind. But someone I know that's got a white Model X, and it's not Peter Ship in the room.
There's not that many.
There's not that many. We're at the City of Stirling recycle plant, and this gentleman we were at the boom gate ready to go into dump some cardboard from a trailer. That was actually my trailer, and we got out of the car, closed the door, and went to talk to the guy at the boom gate to let us in. He went back to the car. The car was locked. His phone and his fob, which Model X's have a fob, was in the center console where it would normally be to be always activated. So he didn't have his phone, didn't have his fob. I said to him, yeah, no problems. I'll log out of my Tesla account on my phone app and got him to log in with his credentials. But of course he had turned on two-factor authentication, which requires a Google Authenticator, which is installed on his phone, which is locked in his car. So
get a brick through the window.
No, so well, there were quite a few used bricks around the place and other things, and quite a few bin chickens around. We could have probably got a bin chicken, told the bin chicken there was a potato chip in the car, and it probably would have smashed his way through the windscreen. But I ended up ringing Tesla, and then he spoke to the nice lady on Tesla roadside assistance, and basically quoted his VIN, and she kindly unlocked the car.
Wow!
So,
wow!
Fantastic.
And put $500 worth of cash in his account, 3 credits or something. Top it up.
Yeah.
Was he aware that was Tesla roadside aware that the VIN is visible in the dash of any car?
Well, he actually said, because he doesn't know he doesn't know his VIN off the top of his head.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the VIN of my X off the top of my head. I mean, only the number bit, obviously. But yes, he did read it off the windscreen. But also, I guess one little bit of security was that he did say his name. So if you wanted to just unlock a Tesla by ringing roadside assistance, you'd want to know the name of the person who owns the car. But of course, some people have got personal vanity plates, which has their name on the number plate. So if you see someone that says Joe's car, you just go, "Hi, my name's Joe. Can you unlock this car, please? And here's the VIN." But anyway,
Richard's got his hand up as well.
Oh,
now.
go Richard. Sorry, apologies.
Chapman.
Yeah. G'day
No,
from
different
Melbourne here.
Oh,
so it's the
welcome, Richard from the
2012
future.
here.
You're
Yeah.
a cousin of a distant cousin of Charles's.
Yes, correct. That's right. That's right.
Welcome.
Thank you. I asked a few questions a few weeks ago about travelling across the Nullarbor.
Yes.
Just trying to map out the journey. We did a trial run up to the Clare Valley just to see if we could physically handle that length of journey. So we did that in one day, stayed overnight at the Clare Valley Motel and drove back the next day. So we're pretty comfortable that we can do that sort of journey. So our plan is to go not to Clare Valley but on to Port Augusta and stay at the Majestic. Then the next leg go to Ceduna. Then the next leg go on to what is it? Next one on is
Penong.
No, we'll probably Ceduna. We'd go through Penong to Border Village.
Oh yes, yes, yep.
Now, I guess the background of this question is: are all these legs doable, or are we pushing it too much in terms of the distance we're traveling in each of the legs? So from Port Augusta to Ceduna, Ceduna to Border Village to Baladonia, and then we're heading down to Denmark via Esperance.
Esperance.
So Baladonia to I think Norseman. No, we'll go through Norseman to Esperance.
Yes. Yep.
And then to Denmark. Now,
Yes.
based on your knowledge of WA and the Nullarbor, is that doable in a Model 3
absolutely.
rear-wheel
So,
drive?
Yep. So off the top of my head, for example, I in my Model X, and that's gonna. So you've got a Model 3 or a Y?
Model 3.
Model 3. Long range or standard range?
Standard range. Got a Model Y on order, but it probably won't arrive before we leave. So.
Okay, cool. So I do recall in my sorry, Pete. I was just going to ask: is Pete in the room? And he is. Pete's actually done this, but off the very top of my head, going Border Village, which is here, to you said Balladonia. That's a doddle. You can easily do that. Notice you'll see the fast DC charger at the Kaiguna Roadhouse. All I can say is personally, I don't recommend you rely on that. For example, if we have a look on PlugShare, at the moment there's a $100 minimum payment. And in fact,
$100 minimum payment.
Bruce Wyborn, who's obviously from WA, and he actually borrowed, I think it's a spare tire and something else. It cost him $123.70 for a charge.
Wow. And a little hand shandy or something as well.
Well,
and George paid something similar as well. About $120.
Yes. So I, Richard, I definitely recommend you don't rely on that. The good news is you can actually charge at Majura Pass. That's a 20. You'll get about 21 kilowatts. It'll charge your car at over about 150 kilometers of range per hour. And so to Balladonia. Now, if you are planning, put it this way, you could easily get from Border Village to Norseman in a day. Easily.
Don't rob at night.
Well, not easily. Sorry, actually, you're leaving in a few weeks or very soon.
Oh no, this will be in February, end of February.
Oh,
right. Okay, so it's a similar time. It's the other side of summer as we are now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a fair bit of light, and you're gaining light as you're traveling west. So yeah, you'll be able to do Border Village to Norseman and get to Norseman just on evening.
Okay.
And the advantage is you'll be able to charge quite quickly at Balladonia and Majura.
The DC charger.
Yeah, on these what you call a slow DC charger. The good thing about that is then Norseman you basically charge at the oval. So there is an oval. It's sort of in the middle of town, but most of the accommodation is up here, which is the Great Western Travel Village, and there's also a caravan park, which is the most likely place you might stay. But at the actual oval itself, there is 3-phase, and you've got a couple of cars, quite a few cars that have done that. Look, I've personally left my car there overnight. That was this decision I made. Norseman's a fairly quiet town, and I felt quite comfortable leaving my car there overnight. And you can also obviously charge it on a 15 amp at the caravan park. Okay. Once you've got about 100 Ks, once you're sort of 3/4 full, you could then just top up overnight on the 10 or 15 amp.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, basically, look, the biggest commodity when you're doing these trips is just flexibility. Just be flexible. So be prepared if there's a bit of a setback or something's not working as well, or also be prepared to perhaps. The good thing is it's the off season as far as tourism goes, pretty much. So just ring ahead, see if there's accommodation, and if there is, great, you can book it, or if not, go to the next place. But none of the gaps. The great news is none of the gaps are large, so there's no worry. You could just effectively do the speed limit if that's what you want to do. But when you are AC charging, it's actually quicker to go a little bit slower.
Yeah.
In other words, rather than doing 110, do yourself a favor and do 100 and possibly even 90, because you'll spend a little bit more time on the road, but you'll spend a fair bit less time by the side of the road charging. Unless it's your last charge and you've got enough juice to get there, then obviously just do the speed limit, and you don't care if you arrive with 5% or 10% because you can replenish overnight.
Yeah, and look, I guess I'm wanting to map it out and book accommodation in advance and be realistic about how far I'm going to get on a particular leg.
Yep.
And if we get away early and get in early in the afternoon, go to the accommodation and sit pretty. But our timeframes are pretty tight for a variety of reasons.
What's your return? How long are you allocating? So you're going from Melbourne?
Melbourne, yep, through to Denmark.
Yes.
Then I'll go back up to Perth for a week, 10 days, and then drive back.
Yep.
So
what have you allocated so far between between Denmark and Melbourne, or Melbourne and Denmark?
Sorry?
How many days have you allocated between Melbourne and Denmark?
6 days travel, 5 days accommodation.
Oh,
so Port Augusta,
you'll romp it in.
Border Village, Baledonia, Esperance accommodation.
Richard, how many dim sims are you planning on doing across the Nullarbor?
About 1,700, I think.
Okay, because Pete Petrosky's still on 2,300 dim sims.
Oh, geez,
and
you got the record.
He did across the Nullarbor. So, and he also did 400 Chico rolls because he was really hungry. So be prepared for that kind of gourmet.
Would some of those, the electric highway, will some of those charges be done by then? Because that's 12 months away.
I think so, but not in that direction. Albany is being built, which would be useful. But probably not by February. I don't look. It's possible, but there's nothing more ironic than rocking up and they're about, it's just got bunting around it and they're going to turn it on next week. That's kind of a bit annoying. But no, absolutely, Richard. You can do it in 6 days or 5 nights, 6 days, easy peasy.
Yep,
absolutely easy. I'm guessing that's like less than 600 k's a day. That's sort of like 500 k's a day, and that's super easy. It's really just one long charge, because don't forget, your first charge is free. Your car is full in the morning. It's a standard range car. Is it a fairly new one, or is it an older? Is it a Fremont built one? Or great. So you can charge. So absolutely always charge to 100% all day, every day. That's what the car is designed to do. So when you wake up in the morning, your car is absolutely full. That means you'll get the first 350 k's for free, and then you need to charge. And so have you got a 3-phase charger?
Yeah, we went through this conversation before. I'm interested in either borrowing or purchasing.
We'll send you. Okay, we'll send you a cons with a 32 amp plug on it, and you can borrow that for the trip, and then you just got to freight it back to us.
Okay. Another question is about, and it's in one of the entries on your website. It's about the Telstra communication, mobile communication. And someone said that Telstra is the way to go. We've actually got a Woolworths plan which uses Telstra as a carrier, but I think they're limited in their overall coverage. It's not the full Telstra.
No, it's the
coverage.
second tier brand crap that they sell.
It's about as good as Optus out there. It's very limited coverage.
So in other words, no service out there at all. Good luck.
Okay. All right. So I'll need to get some sort of a Telstra SIM.
No. Is that a real thing? I would have thought if you're with a Telstra, if they're a Telstra reseller, you will. If there is Telstra out there, you'll get it. Surely.
It's not. It's a rebadged Telstra product. It's
which is artificially limited in the outback where it's a safety issue.
Basically, it doesn't work out there at all.
Okay.
Very poor.
It's good as Optus. It's good as Optus out there. It doesn't work.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. That's good. That's all I need to know. And another thing about the accommodation along the way.
It's all 5-star. It's all.
I wouldn't bother booking.
Sleep in your car.
There's a couple of 6-star places, but they're very limited. But it's all mainly 5-star. And the room service is a bit slow, should we say?
Okay. The question was about pet friendly, because one of the options we've got is to take the dog. We're trying to find a dog sitter here, so we're not don't have that extra burden. But
Does
if
your
we have
dog
to take
bark?
the dog, sorry,
Does it bark a lot? Does the dog bark?
Would you like it to?
No, I'm just saying, is it quiet? Like, could you sneak it into the room? Because what we did is we snuck. We literally one night I grabbed my dog and I wrapped him up in a blanket, and they thought that I was carrying my child to the hotel room.
Right,
And
the dog started barking,
the actual
yeah.
manager of the hotel opened the door for me. It was actually a Labrador at the time. So, yeah.
So is, that,
He
is
doesn't
this?
bark, so
I was going to
Was
say
this more
dog
than-
mode.
true story.
Was this more than 7 years ago, Jared?
Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah.
So the statute of limitations to be sued has passed, so it'll be
well
okay.
past that. Yeah,
Right,
well
okay.
past that. No,
It was what
we're-
Jared was a young man.
Yeah, exactly. We thought, like, when Nigel had hair. I guess the thing is, if
You can't remember that far back when I had hair.
being pet friendly, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure if you just kept it very discreet, you'd probably be okay.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I'm
our
I'm sure
dog
you
is
could Google
unreliable.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should just check,
Just Google it.
Richard.
Just
Just
check.
check.
And
Yeah.
also, Richard, just keep an eye if the temperature at the time it's going to be very hot.
Yep.
So I wouldn't let the dog run by itself into the bushes because there'd probably be a snake out there.
Yep.
So just be cautious about things like that. There's a lot of
Yep.
wildlife that live on the side of the road.
No, she's always on the lead when she's out and about. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, especially if you pull over the side of the road.
Yeah. How would I go about buying a Cons charging unit? Because we've got a Model Y coming, and because of the time we ordered it, it won't come with the UMC. So we may as well have a Cons for tripping as well as.
Yeah, I'm super duper low in stock, which is code for I virtually don't have any. I'm holding back a couple of units as spares for loaning. So, but I'm happy to send you one. If we've got a bit of notice, if it's going to be February, that's plenty of notice, which is good. So rather than airbagging it for $50, I can probably road freight it for substantially less than that.
Okay. Yep. Cool. Yeah.
To you. And unfortunately, I can't offer you. I mean, I could offer you a spare tire, but the freight starts getting expensive.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, obviously, we've probably mentioned this before, but Super Cheap Auto and Repco and others have those tire repair plug kits, and they are, as I keep sort of snidely saying, they are sort of temporary repairs. And mine has temporarily worked for about 35,000 kilometers, so it's doing all right.
I guess I'm just, tapping into some of the information, even on your website says, if you're traveling across the Nullarbor, highly recommend you take a spare tire. I'm thinking, so it could go either way. I've already got one of those puncture repair kits with the slugs and the knitting needle type thing.
Yes. Yep.
Haven't used it in anger, so that's fine. But just for peace of mind, having a spare would be handy. There's a crowd called Braumach, Braumach, which occasionally have these batches of Space Saver tires, the full kit. They're not in stock at the moment. I'm on a wait list. And they came up and I thought, oh, should I not? Oh, maybe. And then they all went, and I missed my opportunity. But I'm if the thinking, the general thinking is I shouldn't need it for across the Nullarbor, then I'll feel a bit more comfortable.
Look, I've dragged a spare tire twice around Australia and never used it in anger. In my whole life,
put it in your boot.
Yeah, well, yeah, I had it in the Model X. It was in the back, and in my Y, it was just on the back seat, laying flat. It was a space saver. It was a modern spare, which sadly these days now costs about $1,300 landed into Australia. In my whole life time of driving, which is, I don't know, 35 years or whatever, roughly, I've only had one catastrophic flat, in which case, you know, my car, the tire went flat in about 1.5 kilometres from perfectly okay to completely flat. And that only happened 2 years ago. So I had to drive for 33 years before I got a catastrophic flat. And that was on the freeway. I must have hit like a bolt or I don't know what it was. I didn't even see it. So I guess you can pick your poison. Look, if you look at some of the Facebook groups, people do change their wheels. They'll, especially on a Model 3, they'll go to performance wheels or some second market wheels. So standard range like aero wheels do come up as being a buying opportunity. You can actually buy the wheel from the rim from Tesla, but it's not cheap. But you could by all means price it just in case you get a pleasant surprise. So let's say it's $500 and you can add a $150 crappy tire to it, then you've got a spare.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, that's it from me. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Appreciate your help.
And like I said, when it comes close to the time, say early January, actually say mid-Jan. So which part of February? Is it later or early Feb?
At this point, we're scheduled to leave on the 25th of Feb.
Right. Okay. Plenty of time. So say mid-January, come back in contact. I'll give you my mobile number.
Yeah. Look, I've called you on the landline.
In the chat.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yep. It's in the chat there. So just ring me.
Yep.
Preferably don't text. Just ring me.
Yep.
And we can sort out. If you give me, say, 3 weeks notice, then I'll be able to, at a minimum, road freight you, preferably road freight a cons.
Cons, yep.
And
okay.
The good thing is that
you are a member of the club, Richard?
Yes.
Yes. No, Richard is. Yes, I do recall. Yes. Yep.
Subscribe,
so you are entitled to all the
subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yes, have you liked and subscribed, and have you hit the notification bell on the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Tokwa. That's very important.
It will help you.
And share, and you've got to share as well. That's right. You've got to share those links.
Yes, I've already got someone in Canberra onto it. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic!
Oh, that's good. Yeah. We're looking at spreading out across the whole of Australia,
like a virus
over the world.
Yeah,
we're going to go viral.
We're going full viral.
Tokwa 22. That's right.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, folks.
No worries, Richard. You have a good night's sleep, mate. It's how is tomorrow? Is it worth waking up? I think you're still there. It's good.
Yeah. It's
happy Thursday
here, and in the future. So
Richard, you're from Melbourne, right? That's like an advanced part of the country. Just wondering, do you guys have a 24-hour Kmart?
Look, I'm surrounded by them.
Really, 24-hour Kmarts? Oh wow.
Yep. He's trying to get away from coming to Denmark and Perth, so it's nice and quiet.
Yeah, all that retail therapy is not doing me any good.
Your Rise Western Australia is the odd one out there, Jared.
We definitely.
I was going to say, I think there's one in Bunbury, actually.
I'm seeing a picture of this. It's starting to really upset me a bit.
They don't call us wait a while for a reason. They definitely do.
I don't know, one of those. Down south.
Oh, dearie me. Okay, folks, I'm off to have a nap.
No worries.
See you, Richard.
Cheers. Bye.
Pleasure, Richard. Take care. See you next time.
Bye.
All right. So has anyone else got any other questions or comments or any other bits of news?
It's good to see Carmen, and also Alex, you're looking very professional tonight, almost like the 60 Minutes team, straight off the Sunday night TV. That new backdrop looks great.
Thank you.
Actually, I have got some news. Sorry to interrupt. Before Chuck goes, because it's more local to him, although it's sort of about a WA team, and that is Tokeva. So the Perth to Sydney Marathon was completed successfully.
Yeah.
And in fact...
No, you're not sharing?
I'm not sharing. I just got to get back to the start, and then I'll share, and then Yeah, I just have to set it up, and then this is the finish. 5,285 Ks.
Good on him.
An achievement. Wow.
Get a kiss.
So congratulations to Jürgen, Helen, and John, and the whole crew. Andrew, there's so many people that helped out and were vital links in that chain. And without any one of them, it would not have been a success.
And also thanks to Pete Petrosky providing all the internet satellite communication. So he provided all the...
And
Via-
to SBS World News for the great
Yeah.
videos as well that they've been putting on.
That's right. So,
And it's funny because that coverage that Jared was talking about has actually just gotten amazingly better to the point
all of
where
Australia.
all of Australia now is covered, including the little island.
Wow.
So
When you say
all the
the
way
little
up to the top of the Cape,
Tippy
all the way.
When you say the little island, you mean Macquarie Island, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh yes, right. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Apologies.
Norfolk
Yes,
Island.
yes.
Keep going. It's there.
Although Chuck,
Keep going. There it is. There it is.
There it is.
That's part of Tasmania. There we go.
Macquarie Island. There you go.
is that where you go for your holidays, Chuck? What's that, a holiday island, is it? We have an island called Rottnest Island, but it's a little bit closer than that one.
He actually rows there in he's got a canoe. Chuck has.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to brag. It's
How long's a boat trip from Melbourne to Tasmania? 12 hours?
9 hours.
9 hours. So how far do you reckon is from Tasmania to that island? It's
a little bit further.
a little bit further than 9 hours, I reckon. Jesus.
Let's just say the only manned place on Macquarie Island is an Antarctic research station. So that gives you an idea.
Absolutely.
But it's got Starlink. It's got Starlink, which is the important thing.
Well, in fact, I mean, WA is the only place that's got a hole in the map, but that's the Murchison square kilometre array.
Yeah.
So, but there you go. So that only happened late last week, I think it was, from memory.
yeah.
And that's all of Australia covered. And incidentally, you've actually got much of the northern latitudes covered as well. Alaska and Svalbard and even northern parts of Norway, which is quite northerly. In fact, beyond the Arctic Circle, and they are
Not
covered
Russia.
by the polar.
not
Strangely so,
Russia.
not Russia.
Yeah, not Russia. 'Cause
But there you go. So Starlink has just gotten even better.
And cheaper.
and the price, Harold. Tell them the price.
Yeah, well, why would you pay $950 when you or
Like-
whatever
like
it was
Pete
when you can
did
pay
twice.
400? Hey, and Jared, I paid 3 times. So how clever am I? So yes, so instead of being $924, it's now only $450.
Bugger.
Why is that? Are they going to bring out another dish or something?
Huh?
Trying
I
to
think
get
they
rid of-
brought their prices down, and they're just doing a big push. I think they realise just how big the Australian market potential is.
Oh, yeah.
Has the price come down for the plan itself, Harold?
No, so it's still $139 a month.
Which
and for the
that's a little
RV,
bit- that's a little bit disappointing because for people that supported it early on, you would you get there's no difference. So it would have been better if they kept it at $940 or made it $700 or whatever, and then reduce the monthly amount. Maybe just for a year or two, not forever. But yeah.
Yeah, but Pete, I know someone called Carmen that bought a car, and then a couple of weeks later, it went down by several $1,000s.
Yes,
if not a matter of a few days later.
10,000.
Well, 10. I mean, I wasn't going to I wasn't going to, make it feel worse than it really was, or, I was
Thank you,
trying to
Harold.
let it fade away a little bit. But yeah, imagine that. So, this is just the thing that happens. There's nothing you can do about it. The best time to buy a Starlink is today, because tomorrow you might be half price again, but at least you got the use of it, when you had it.
So what does the 139 a month get you?
Basically, it gets you unlimited downloads at this stage and up to 200 megabits per second. But if you say on average about a bit over 100, but look, if you're in the city, it makes 0 cents. Unless you're in a couple of, I don't know if there are any black spots still left, but there are some suburbs, well, there used to be certainly fairly recently, that had crappy ADSL or fiber to the node. And you just got
one of them.
right.
That was the whole of Western Australia.
Yeah. So if that's the case and you don't want to wait for NBN to get better or whatever, you could get Starlink basically now. But it's not
what's
cheap.
the spamming situation?
So say again, what's the?
Is it likely to attract more or less spamming?
Oh no, it's just internet. It's just the internet. It's got nothing to do with emails or anything like that. It's just a means of getting the internet. Everything else is exactly the same.
Carmen,
as far as spam.
Nigel's got it. So it's designed for older people. So it's it comes with a big telephone that you get with a big button and you get stuck. So because Nigel
you can
uses
see it without glasses.
You can see it. Nigel, you like the big internet thing, don't you?
Yeah, I got Starlink and it works very well. Yes.
In fact, Nigel, you're on it, aren't you? I presume you must be on it. Yeah.
He's
yeah,
on
cool.
something, that's for sure.
I'm on something.
He's on Prozac or something.
But yeah, so
well,
go, Pete.
Nigel's the former GP. He's probably self-prescribed whatever he's on.
Nah, they would have taken they'd take his script book
Take
off
his
him by
pad
now.
away.
Oh, he handed all his script books back, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
No, I did.
I'm sure you did.
I'm sure you did.
Oh dear. Anyway, so yeah, that's Starlink. So yeah, Carmen, it makes technically it's a little bit like battery storage for most people. You don't buy it because it's economically a great thing to do, but it's an awesome toy. You're supporting the cause, I guess. And if you're a capo Tesla owner, well, you can probably afford it, unless you can't. So, but
Carmen, now's a good time for you to seriously think about doing it, because
Well, I'm thinking of more travel, actually.
no, you need to think about it, because when Harold goes up and re-roofs the house, it's a good time to put the bracket in then when it's got the new roofing on.
Good idea.
So you might want to keep that in mind.
I will.
yeah, but Jared, you don't need brackets and stuff. You just need a couple of sandbags.
Yes, I have seen that sports model, the bracket I sent through.
So, Carmen, so there's two types. So there's just the ordinary Starlink, and then there's Starlink RV, which is the one that you can
that's the
take
deluxe.
with you.
Where's your one, Pete? When you installed it on your roof, that was a good photo.
That was when the palm tree fell down, wasn't it?
No, that was Pete's tree lopping business.
That's below the belt.
Pete's attached it to the palm tree and then he trimmed it.
It's that funny. Carmen's been away for 3 or 4, 6 months around the world, and she still remembers Pete's palm tree. That's gold.
I do.
Pete's palm tree.
Well, there was actually an ad kindly made by Synergy actually warning about Pete's palm tree.
It was.
And
Was
he
that Western
actually
Power, was it?
featured. Oh, Western Power, sorry, and he
Western
actually
Power.
featured in that ad.
He did. Yeah, he's a model, superstar.
Yes,
My
he is.
head
But-
seemed to be extra large in that.
Oh well, you were very proud to be on the TV. Pete. That's what it's all about.
I've got a
no need
question
to be
for
modest.
Richard Chapman. Richard Chapman, just want to ask you, how's Harold's ex going?
Love that joke.
How many times have you ridden in my ex, Richard? That's getting a bit personal. What do you think of my ex?
He loves the ex, don't you, Richard?
Still looking for the mute button.
Here we go for a tour.
No.
Here we go. There we go. Ooh. Look at those back wing doors.
She's epic. She's epic.
She's
What a
definitely
car.
epic. No question about that.
I
You
guess.
just know,
you
like,
have you guys discussed the latest Tesla share price or Mr. Musk's newest purchase?
Do you mean Tesla has a share price? I thought it was free, weren't they? The shares were
Almost free
discounted.
now.
Free to a good home.
He's been spending a little bit lately. What's happening?
He's having it off.
Oh, it'll be all right.
Yeah,
Wait 6 months, no one will give a shit.
It's the perfect buying opportunity for Tesla shares right now.
Oh shit, yeah. I don't have enough money at the moment to get them. I bought them when they were like 300.
I don't,
thinking
because
they
I'm
were
buying the
good.
next.
Well, it's
What's
one.
the price,
I
Harold?
suppose it's a way of getting a good average.
190. What's that? 191? I can't see.
191.
Jeez. Oh,
191.30.
how much have I got?
Is that Australian dollars, Pete?
You will.
Oh, almost.
Is that Australian dollars? Or is
Nah,
that
it's Yanks.
No, it's not. No.
It's American.
It's American. Okay. Fucking hell.
Don't tell
Well,
the
we'll
only.
see how the voting goes the next couple of days. Probably even come down a bit more from there. So.
I swear I was
Yeah,
up
so
like
Elon sold-
$5,000 or something at one point, and now I'm like broke.
Elon
even.
sold 4 billion.
He sold 4 billion, yeah. Yeah, 4
Yeah.
billion
Woohoo.
Well,
US
he
worth
needed,
of
he's going
shares.
to pay all the staff that he sacked, the 2,700 people that he
No,
sacked
it's
from
3,000.
Twitter.
And some he
Good on him.
unsacked later.
How did
I mean, they're
2,700
losing 4
people?
million.
What do they do?
They're losing 4 million a day. You know,
I'd
if
sack
it's
him.
hemorrhaging money, you got to do something about it.
100%. What a
Yeah.
waste.
It
Yeah,
sounds
absolutely.
like a good cleanup.
Well, that's what he does.
I'm just
He,
going to
he
log
is
on.
bringing out Twitter Blue, doing the verification, which might be useful. I'm certainly all for it. I don't mind spending $10-12 a month to get the blue tick.
What,
'cause
so,
that's kind of
Harold,
useful.
actually, what do you get for that? I don't quite understand as a user. Like, I understand it if you're a media organization or a political person, but if you're just an average user, how does that benefit?
Well, it gives you a bit more credibility. It shows that you've given up, a certain number of points of ID, and that you are what you
True.
say you are.
It's like
And
standing up
frustratingly,
$8
a month.
in the old days, you could just apply for it. Back before any of us were on Twitter. Back in the late noughties, in 2007, 8, whatever, you could just get it. But then they stopped it, and you have to be notable, or you've got to show that various news sites have actually had articles about you and quoting you personally.
Oh, so it's kind of like being like being on Wikipedia. Like, you've actually got to be.
Well, in fact,
like,
that's
you can't
one of
be
the
about yourself
criteria.
or-
In fact,
Oh,
if
right.
you have a public Wikipedia entry,
Someone's made one of you. Yeah.
well, that's been made. So, and you can't do one yourself, obviously.
Yeah.
And you've also been quoted by certain reputable news agencies or news websites, or if you're a journalist of a said website, then you can get it. But us mere mortals have no chance. So now
Pete'll
at least,
be all right.
yeah, well, Pete, well, absolutely.
Pete's
We'll
fine.
just send
Yeah,
Channel
I see.
7's video, and Pete's in.
Yep, in
Pete-
like Flynn.
It's quite a lot though. Like, I mean, like, I know it doesn't sound like much, but that would build up. I think if it was a couple of bucks, like, because then you could still do all the ID stuff, but then I suppose you've still got to make money. So I don't know.
I think
It's
he's
like
getting
the
away from
Australian
an
standards
ad.
tick that you get for your business.
What's that?
It's like having that Australian standards ticks You know, those
Yeah.
ticks
Yeah.
in the
Oh yeah, no, I
systems
understand it
where
for a business.
they've got ticks all over them saying they're credible, they're this, they're that. They've never had
Is that for business only or all subscribers?
No. Also, so that's for humans. For in fact, the idea is for individuals to have that verification, and also because you've spent the money, it's virtually, almost not impossible, but very few bots of almost all the bots would then disappear if Twitter went to a pay model, because
That makes sense.
it just doesn't. You can't afford. You know, there are bot armies. There are millions and millions of bots that are there intended to manipulate lots of things for lots of different people for different reasons.
Okay.
And that would just disappear almost overnight, except for a very few, multi-millionaires that might have a couple of hundred or 1,000 bots because, they'll spend 50 grand just for a laugh. But it limits all the bots, and I don't know. It's controversial. We'll see what happens. Musk claims and Twitter claims that there are more active, monetizable monthly active users than there ever have been, and they're growing. But then a lot of people are leaving as well. So maybe it's like anything, isn't it? As long as you get more new recruits than you have dropouts, you're still moving ahead.
I guess it was always inevitable that this was just going to be a massive drama for a certain amount of time. I think no matter what happened.
And it's something that Elon Musk, it's not like he's not a busy person making cars and rockets.
I know
and
that's your
Neuralink.
I think that's your biggest concern, isn't it? The time it takes out of the really important things. But I don't know. I just wonder whether he's 10 steps ahead and he's saying that ultimately it is better to crush bot armies against promoting fossil fuels or whatever. Then
don't forget he's also got a master plan that he wrote in July 2000, I think, and he regrettably didn't keep a copy of it, but it basically described that he was going to do something better than PayPal, which I think is one of his big unfinished business items, because he sort of he had partnerships in PayPal. He was convinced, or he sold it, and it never really went to where it should have gone in his mind, because had he continued with it, it probably would have been bigger than Bitcoin as far as a form of money exchange. So he wants X.com to be rolled into Twitter, and he wants Twitter to be used a little bit like WeChat, which in China is used for microtransactions or monetary transactions and lots of other things.
They don't accept Visa card and MasterCard over there. They at WeChat.
Really?
There you go. So
you can't use your Visa or MasterCard over there.
Far out.
Yep.
So Twitter will be that vehicle for transactions, monetizing video content, which Twitter never does. So it'll be like a rival, not of YouTube, but of those big media websites.
TikTok and that crap.
TikTok, yeah. It's
TikTok
for old people.
Alex,
it's basically
Alex
TikTok.
does
TikTok for old people.
Well,
Alex
they'll
does-
talk about
Alex
bringing
does
back
TikTok.
Vine.
Hey,
Alex is-
TikTok for me.
Because they used to have, they owned Vine, and then they shelved it. So if they bring that back,
they are
bring
bringing.
back Vine.
He's already said so. He's already told them that he wants that to be rebirthed, to bring Vine back.
There you go.
But look, the problem is it's costing a lot of money. He's spent 40. Well, he hasn't, but the total of $46.5 billion. It's probably costing more than $1 billion a year in interest and other stuff. And
if he can get the money thing off, he'll be making money hand over fist.
Yeah,
Just
but
think how
did
much
you
money
see
he's made.
today that his personal valuation has dropped below 200 billion?
Oh,
how can you?
We're going to have
get
to
there
lend
a
him
week,
some money.
200
Just won't be able
billion.
to eat. Then. Won't be able to
And
afford
he's
to.
working 120 hours a week now since taking
I
over
don't-
Twitter.
Yeah.
Which
I don't
is
envy him.
that's
that
a
new
lot.
job
I
role.
remember my
Oh.
first hospital contract when I first qualified was 120 hours a week, and I tell you what, I was stuffed and I was only 24 or something then.
And you had hair then,
We felt
Nigel.
48.
And
That's
I
where all
had
your hair went.
Yeah.
Elon's a very special person. I mean, hell, if I had 200 million from the sale of a business, I wouldn't be doing fuck all after that.
No, exactly. That's
You
why
know?
we're not Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep
He just
last
does
night knowing
more.
that Elon was down to less than 200 mil. Bill, I don't know how you could.
I was going to start a GoFundMe.
Well, the problem is. Oh, sorry, go Pete.
I just said I was going to start a GoFundMe page for him.
Well, according to the internet,
yeah, right.
he says that the master plan I wrote 10 years ago is now in the final stages of completion.
Is that
Which one though?
That'll be
is
master
that the
plan one.
Tesla's master plan, or is that the X.com, Carmen? Because I do recall Elon Musk tweeted. I mean, he's done a lot of tweets lately, but he did tweet that he had done the master plan for X.com. Or
Yeah, that was the Tesla, but the New Economy says that he's setting out part 2 of his unifying grand plan. So involves the creation of solar tools that have seamlessly integrated battery storage and the expansion of Tesla. It's got quite a few bits and pieces here.
yeah, that's the Tesla one. I'm trying to find his comment about Twitter, where he was saying his plan was just after he'd sold or while he had PayPal, and he was going to do a platform that was going to be much better than PayPal ever became.
Is Joe there? Joe, come in, Joe. Joe, come in, Joe.
She's ignoring you.
Oh, she's not going. She's not going on page.
She's incognito.
Joe, that's very rude of you, Joe.
I'm busy.
Oh,
She's being
see,
private.
Oh,
She needs
isn't that lovely?
privacy.
Hi.
Isn't that lovely? There's your old flatmate, Richard Chapman. He just wanted to let you know you still owe $12 for power that you didn't pay your power bill 15 years ago at that house in Kent. If you could sling that $15 to Richard, that'd be great.
Okay.
Pounds, actually. Pounds, please. Not
Pounds,
this Aussie.
pounds.
Not this
Pounds,
Aussie
and I
money.
paid all the bills.
And he said that he could maybe just sling a pork
Pretty
pie or
much the
something.
same pounds and dollars now, mate.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Isn't it pretty much like after they took a bit of a hit? Isn't it nearly the same?
Yeah, funny
in a way?
that we used to be $3 to the pound, and the Barmy Army used to sing that. You get $3 to the pound, no, and they just big long chant.
Who's laughing now?
Yeah, exactly. Not
Yes.
Not
They
not
abandoned
the same price.
our queen and country abandoned us Antipodeans and went to Europe, and now they're kind of like want to get back together again with us. Oh well, never mind. I couldn't find that thing from Elon Musk, so if anyone else can, feel free to find it. But he basically did say it was going to be bigger than PayPal. But anyway, it's all good.
It's all good. I mean, a lot of the price drops because Elon was doing the sales anyway. So
Alex, could you just tell me, is that
that's right.
new logo you got behind? Is that the new Tesla charger? They're installing in
is that the one down in Mandurah?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Oh, because is that? I thought it might have been like the one they're putting in Mandurah. That's actually somebody's going to set fire to it, and that's what the red was. That's actually getting set fire to. So
No, I'm going to do a drive. I'm going to do a drive on Saturday, where I think it's going to go.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
That is my what I'm going to do on Saturday.
Cool.
There you go.
I'm going to go to the place and ask some questions.
So the charger, Pete Petrosky, the charger down in Margaret River that's broken and has been broken for over 9 months. Is that a ChargeFox managed charger?
It's a RSC one, but ChargeFox.
Managed by ChargeFox?
Yeah, they do the payment gateway. Yeah.
So who would be responsible in repairing that? ChargeFox?
Harold will tell you, I think it's the council. I think RAC have handballed it to the council.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that worries me a bit if ChargeFox are going to be the new responsible for the charges across the Australian network, and they're going to.
Yeah, so as you can see, physically, that's the reason why the charge is not working. What Pete said is correct. So the problem is the term ChargeFox is being conflated as if they are the owners and custodians of the charges. But in many cases, they're not. They're just the billing provider. And when you say it's managed by ChargeFox, all that means is the charger, the modem or the computer inside the charger logs on via the internet to ChargeFox's server, their OCPP server, which means Open Charge Point Protocol server. So ChargeFox can become aware, or their server can become aware that that charger has failed to log in or stopped talking to their system. So in that sense, they can be aware that the charger is not communicating, whether it's because it's dead, there's no power, or the SIM card isn't working or something.
So why haven't they fixed it, Harold? Have they just gone, well, there's 3 Tesla chargers here and we don't have to race that to do anything?
So the RAC, the RAC Electric Highway, which was pretty much the world's first fast DC highway, I guess you could call it, network. I think it was 2016. I think it was established. The RAC gifted, or they paid for the units. They were running it for a while, and I think they then gifted each of the individual chargers to the individual local government associations or areas, whatever, local government. So unfortunately, because it was being underutilized, because the intervals, like if you look at the actual the fast charger map on PlugShare, and we'll just get rid of everything except for CCS. And most of the pins you see, all of these pins are basically the RAC highway. Nothing went to Albany. The furthest, sorry, Pemberton wasn't, but Augusta was, Bridgetown, Nannup, Margaret River, Dunsborough, Bustleton, Donnybrook, Harvey, Bunbury, and Mandurah, and Perth. And that was the highway, and it was only just these units. But of course, most Teslas could drive almost all the way to Margaret River and skip all of these charges. So they had a lot of underutilization. And unfortunately, it was done at the time when Nissan Leaf was probably one of the dominant, at that time was one of the dominant EVs. And they had a range of 70, 80, 90, 100 Ks. So you needed close charges. So anyway, so RAC gifts it to the councils to say, here you go, here's some manna from heaven. Here is an asset that we're giving to you for free. But of course, as we can see in Margaret River, all it takes is one of these events, and each one of these nozzles costs $1,500, and it takes 10 seconds to smash both of them. So then the maintenance costs went up. I believe that every now and then, because the RACs, if you look at each of the boxes, it proudly says RAC Electric Highway. In a sense, and I believe quite rightly, when it what's that saying? Success has many fathers, but failure is an orphan. So when it's running well, the council loves a little bit of kudos, and the RAC loves a bit of kudos. But when the proverbial hits the fan, then no one wants to know about it. But the RAC has its livery all over it. So I believe they've sometimes come to the party and put some funding to fix things. But I dare say the Margaret River thing, put it this way, these connectors, that they are Phoenix standard CCS, standard CCS and CHAdeMO connectors. That cable is a standard part number. There's nothing exotic. It's not a tritium only part. It's a Phoenix bog standard part. So it's not like the part's not available. I'd say the will is not available to pay for it. Particularly if you've got to send someone from Perth down to Margaret River, which is a day trip, and it's an overnight stay, and you've got travel and accommodation. It'd probably cost $4,000 to fix for something that probably has never turned over $4,000 in its whole life.
Yeah,
Electricity. So there's a problem.
Will these charges be replaced with the new electric highway?
No, they will be separate. So they'll be in the same town. So we do know on the map, as I recall, Margaret River actually featured in Synergy's EV highway map. So somewhere in Margaret River there will be a 150 kilowatt, I'm guessing, fast DC charger, and then that RAC one will be a distant memory, and then no one will care what happens to it. So yeah, there you go. But that's the story. Unfortunately, I think it was a little bit ahead of its time, and it suffered. And also the model of gifting it to a council that doesn't really want it and just gets hassles, and there's no great bigger picture. It's just going to end badly, and it's kind of fizzled out. But anyway, there you go.
I'm going to say tatty bye, fellas. Oh, and ladies.
Nighty night, Nigel.
See you, Nigel. See you, Nigel.
Yeah,
Good
it's
night.
getting
Take care,
late
mate.
for these old fellas.
Yeah. Gotta get up early
You need
tomorrow.
to shift to South Africa, Grumpy. Go to Cape Town or something.
To the nursing
Yes,
home
South
stay
Africa.
later there, Harold.
Because then it's like lunchtime for you. Because then it's earlier in the afternoon for you, so it'll be okay. You could then join us for longer.
No, I had my nana nap that time.
That's a poppy flop.
Poppy flop.
Perhaps go drifting on the International Space Station. You could come around every 90 minutes.
Not at my age.
Speaking of which, I might actually be very ahead of the curve next week, unusually. If I remember at the time.
Richard, you're speaking a little bit in advance there, mate, ahead of the curve, because you are doing the dishes. There's one thing that, you don't ever see Harold doing the dishes, Pete Petrosky doing the dishes, because they're ahead of the curve. But you're doing the dishes.
Wait. They're so ahead of the curve, it's like 24 hours later.
Yeah.
So, Richard, you're saying you're going to be ahead of the curve.
Well, if I remember which I should, because I've got a timer that reminds me, I'll be in the UK the next 3 sessions. So if I do remember to have a moment to dial in, I shall let you know my
okay, Mr. Big Holiday Jet Setter. I'll be in the UK.
Great. In November.
Yeah, great. Yeah. I'll be staying with my mum and my sister.
I will.
Exactly. That'll be.
He can drive up to the other Perth and look at the supercharger.
Yeah. Go give it another visit.
Oh.
You hear that, Joe? Joe, Richard's going back home to the UK.
Yeah, well, the last time I was there, so was Joe for mine and Emma's wedding.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
And then when you get back, Richard, I'll be going to Austria a couple of weeks later.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
For a month.
Off on the big bird, the big kahuna.
Yeah.
A380.
Hey, A380.
Got an A380.
All the way to
We're
Vienna.
going direct. We're going 787 though, Dreamliner, all the way to London.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
17 hours with a toddler.
Yes.
Now, Richard, don't fart. Don't fart because it'll stay on the plane for 17 hours, mate.
It will.
Don't do it.
Exactly. That Dreamliner that's really compressed, that one.
It's cool.
I've done it.
Once you've done it, you just get spoiled. No more transiting in some horrible
but I'd
Asian
rather
airport.
Yeah. There's still Qantas crew. That's the sad part, some of those hosties on that plane, they've been on the Wright brothers. They've flown on the Wright brothers flight. They served a cup of tea. Plane was there for 3 minutes. The Wright brothers, she was serving a cup of tea. She was right there. But they use the English crew for that flight. A lot of English people.
Oh, that's why they
for
don't
that
use them on
flight,
British
so-
Airways then.
So they'll be able to talk to them in your native tongue. Can I have a cup of tea,
No
like?
translation needed.
Yeah, no translation. Can I have a cup of tea, like?
All right, geezer.
All right, geezer. Yeah. Where's the motor? You'll love it. We're
Hey,
going
Richard.
to be on the Emirates, where there's every hostie from every part of the world.
Oh, love Emirates.
And then, and the back of the plane is a
Not
bar.
a 777. It
Oh no,
wasn't.
A380. That's Carmen. Forget the 777s.
I
They're
came
the
on
small
it.
ones. You want the A380 with the big
don't want
bar
that.
at the back.
You stand next to
with
the A380 and you're
canapes.
like, whoa, this thing's massive.
That's where you want to go on. That's the big. The farts go from one end of the plane right to the other end. Unlike the Dreamliner where they stay compressed and recirculated. So business class economy gets all business classes farts, and yeah, that's all fresh air in the first, and then economy's just fun. So
Oh dear.
All right. On that note, no.
Yes. Good night, Paul.
Yeah, I'm
Take
going
care,
to
mate.
guys. Must say.
What are you going to say, Pete?
Hey, Richard, knowing you, you're no doubt
can't hang
offsetting your missions.
Night, Paul.
See you,
Bye.
Paul.
No, because that's a massive scam.
Oh, why is that not?
What's your scam?
I don't. Oh, what? So, like, you pay some money extra, and then they plant some trees that burn down.
Yeah, that is
Wicked.
definitely a scam. That whole can I pay extra to be carbon neutral? Really? You think?
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
You know what?
don't
You know
believe-
that,
I don't
that
believe it.
Alan Joyce just got $4 million. That was from the carbon neutral money that people have been paying.
If they were if they were actually like paying like carbon engineering in Sweden or Switzerland or somewhere to actually genuinely take,
then you do it.
That CO2. But the thing is, it's like, okay, it's CO2, it's CH4, it's NOx. It's like, what are we taking the NOx emissions out now? Of course we're not. I don't know. Look, yeah, go for it if you think it's beneficial.
I always do it because I figured. So first of all, if I haven't looked because I haven't flown for a very long time, but my understanding is that they're certified now. So those certificates. So it can't. Well, it shouldn't be a scam. But even if it is, what I've always figured is at least you're sending a signal that.
Yes. Here's something that's never really ever said online or anyone ever voices the opinion. I don't accept the emissions from Qantas or any airline I go on. I'm responsible for the emissions that I can prevent, i.e. my house, cars, anything like that. I don't accept, if I need to get somewhere, they're my emissions. So at work, that's my responsibility, and at home, that's my responsibility. But I don't accept it for like a third-party service I need when I have no other option. If there was another airline that cost like twice as much, that genuinely did offset it, genuinely,
you wouldn't go with them anyway.
It's expensive.
So Pete, I've got to fly to Sydney in a couple of weeks. They booked a ticket for me. It was $850 from Perth to Sydney, economy, right? And the same ticket now is just over $2,500. Do you believe that Qantas are not trying to regain the money they've lost for the last 2 years?
They're already showing a profit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. At the moment, they're ripping everybody off at the moment.
Yes.
Qantas don't deserve to be supported.
Correct, 100%. Unfortunately,
they're not ripping people off. It's just that's.
Pete,
that's capitalism, baby.
Pete, some of the prices at the moment for economy tickets are nearly the same prices I paid for business class.
So when are you flying, Jared?
Prices are ridiculous.
It's when is it now? It's the 5th of December, I think it is, or 3rd of December. A couple of weeks, 20 days or something.
For how long?
Oh, it's a week. It was two and a half grand.
You know what you can do, Jared? If you go on Google and type in Perth to Sydney flights,
I'm not paying for it, so I'm not that stressed.
But let's say you were
yeah.
going for a holiday or whatever.
Yeah.
What you do is Google
Price
now
watch.
gives you a histogram like it does when you go to.
There you go, Harold. Harold's just seen it.
Yeah, and it'll tell you, it'll show you the price, the average prices. And so if you fly, let's say on like Australia Day or New Year's Eve, notice the pricing is a couple of $100 less.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper because no one's flying on New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
100%. But
it's
right
just,
now, Qantas are just
money.
gouging, like literally gouging.
No
the
different to Uber.
Yeah, it's 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
No, they really are gouging, Pete, because
they really are gouging.
I did a couple of flights between 50 euros and 150 to go to another country.
Yeah.
So if they can fly, why can't Qantas?
I think
you look at a
I think
flight
I paid
now,
£10 once to get to Ireland.
Have a look at a flight from Perth to LA and then LA back to Perth. I used to pay business class, I used to pay like $5,000. Now it's like 12. It's something ridiculous. It's just double. Everything's double or triple. It's just crazy shit. I used to fly from Perth to Frankfurt. I used to pay $5,000 with Qatar there and back. Now it's 12, 13,000. Same flight. It's just ridiculous. Those prices are no longer there now. They will be next year, but this year they're like gouging back as much money as they can. And Qantas is really bad. Like the domestic market, we used to pay $300 to go to Sydney, and back. Now it's like $300 each way, if not more. $500.
And here's the funny thing, right? Sorry, Harold, go on.
Oh, so just very quickly, Perth to LA on the 9th of December. This is one way. This is only the outbound leg.
That's what you'd pay, business class. Yeah.
And then if we go back, sorry, what's the return trip? LA to Melbourne, say, I don't know, a couple of days later, 2,700 on the way back. So that's more than $5,000 economy.
And I think it's costing us 7.5 for the three of us return to London direct.
Yeah,
I'm hearing of people paying like $2,500.
Yeah, a lot more than that. Coast. I mean, look at how much is a business class fare, Harold? Look at the business class prices. It used to be $5,000 to LA.
So at the moment, return to LA economy is 5,300.
Yeah.
I'll have to pick up business class. I'll have to do that another way. I'll have to go back on that one.
It'll be like $12,000.
Oh, probably more.
Easy.
I wouldn't be surprised it's more. I would not be surprised. They are just ripping the market at the moment. So, you got to shop it around, I guess. So, but freight across the board is fucking out of control. Like, just out of control. Shipping.
Okay, so business class on Monday one way is $8,066. So we'll just pick.
Yeah, that's one way. So it's
that's the cheapest. So where is that? That's there. That's on the. Oh my god, that's Perth, Sydney, Honolulu, LA. That only takes 27 hours.
Business class, all right. You spend 3 weeks getting there.
Far out.
28 hours.
That one,
again, that's the cheapest, right? So if we go to something a bit more reasonable, such as Perth to Brisbane, LA, there's $12,000. There's nothing cheaper than 11,000. That's Honolulu.
If you go to Harold, if you go back to that Brisbane to LA flight, I bet you it's a QF30 at 330. It's not even an A38, it's a 330, I reckon.
So they're going to add that to the trip, and that's the outbound. And then we're coming back on the 9th, and the cheapest fare is 11,000. So we'll look where that one is, and that's Sydney. Okay, so we'll go 11,000, and we'll add that to the trip. So this is one person flying business is a very reasonable $24,011.
Wow. That was a first class ticket around the world 2 years ago. First class, you'd pay $20,000. You used to get the what was it called? Not Emirates. What's the Abu Dhabi one? Forget their name.
Qatar. No.
No, not Qatar. The other airline, the Arab, whatever that other airline is.
Etihad.
They used to do that. The residents. and it was 20,000, and that was around the world or what it was. 24,000 in a Qantas plane. If you have a look at that flight, Harold, that Brisbane to LA, it's a A330, a shitty A330 that you catch from Perth to Sydney.
It's a QF. So QF 55.
Yeah,
QF
it's an A330. I'm pretty sure.
It's a
winglet 737 winglet
737.
Another,
that's Perth to Brisbane. So that's Perth to Brisbane.
Yeah.
I flew that. I flew that
Yes.
the other day. And the QF 55 is a A330. You're right,
Airbus
Jared.
A330. There you go. Yep. So another shit product. But why would you want to be stuck on a shitty little plane like that for 12 hours or what it is when you'd rather be on an A380 business class? Oh, no.
They change planes without telling you.
They do. And they're flying the Dreamliner now from Melbourne to LA.
Yeah.
And only because they haven't got all their A380s out of America yet. So they're using the A380s out of Sydney to LA and Sydney to London A380. That's what they're using until they get the rest of them out. So.
Right, so that segment of who's bagging Qantas tonight was brought to you by Singapore Airlines.
Yeah.
Just for the record, I love Qantas. All right, so I'm going to support them, not Alan Joyce.
I wouldn't support
I
them
did,
Yeah.
but I don't anymore.
They're
There's
like
not a
the
lot of
RAC
love for the
coming up.
kangaroo.
Well, that's what
I
Alan
still
Joyce
love them.
done.
I'm platinum with them, so I still love them until I go back to gold or whatever. But I just think they're just ripping the market at the moment. They're trying to recoup all their money. So.
All right, anyone got any Tesla questions, or Twitter questions, or SpaceX questions?
Well,
or...
we've had an update. I haven't got across all the new stuff
What new stuff?
on Tesla.
Oh,
Well, we had the news.
yeah, Carmen, you were late.
One of the good news items
You're
is
coming in a bit earlier.
that the Tesla in Germany is going to be applying for a doubling of the capacity of the Gigafactory in Berlin. So they're going from 500,000 car annual capacity, to in excess of 1 million cars, and they're going to be applying for that no later than the end of this year.
In German, I think they call that is that called the Fichtensteisen? In Germany, it's a technical word. Schneisen and Schnitzen.
No,
the Wiener Schnitzel. Is
no,
that we're going to get the million out?
Germany's economic and environmental minister, I forget his first name, but it's Habeck, was talking about Tesla Geschwindigkeit, which means Tesla speed, because the Germans have to, they're actually building 5 or 7 LNG receival plants, or jetties basically, where they're gonna have a converted LNG tanker that'll be used to store LNG that comes in from other ships, other tankers, and then regasify it to natural gas to try and relieve some of the Russian gas crisis and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So he was back in March. That was only a few weeks after the invasion of Ukraine. He basically said that they need to approach construction of these things with Tesla Geschwindigkeit, because they haven't got time to mess around. Winter's coming, and even if they have 100% storage capacity of gas, which they are aiming to do, they will only last halfway through winter before they run out. And they're actually, in Germany, there's a three-phase emergency gas plan. The first phase was like an alert phase where but effectively they just became more alert of what was going on and have more lines of communication between various gas suppliers and customers. The second stage they went into, I think it was in June, and that's called the intermediate phase. Let me just get my notes, because I've actually done a collaborative video with the Talking Tesla guys, Joel Sapp, and it was like a pilot episode, and we cleverly titled it Talking Tesla Digs Deep, because Joel and I are basically antipodeans. We're only about 1,000 miles away from each other, being directly opposite.
No, not Joel.
Joel Sapp. Joel Sapp. He's in Boston.
Oh,
Carmen, I
right,
hope you're
sorry.
paying
Yeah.
attention to all this
And-
because we're
I
going
am
to.
paying
Perth.
attention.
Perth is actually.
I
Perth is
thought
actually.
you were talking about Mel.
No. Mel's in.
No.
LA.
LA.
Mel's in LA. But yeah, so Joel Sapp's in Boston. But anyway, I'll get this. I do.
Hey,
have,
Harold,
When does that go out?
early warning.
No,
phase one. The second phase is alarm phase, and the third one is the emergency phase.
Yes,
Is that-
and I'm just going to bring up that
Yeah, when they have
Here
to
we
go
go.
to plaid speed, Pete.
three
Sorry?
phase.
They have to go to full plaid when that goes live.
The thing is,
Full emergency phase.
No,
this
so-
is all
so-
fine, but are they? Sorry, go on. Oh.
Yeah, so very quickly, they're currently in the alarm phase, which is on the 23rd of June. So that's basically, and they describe it as where there's a disruption in the gas supply or an exceptionally high demand for gas, which leads to significant deterioration of the gas supply situation. But the market is still able to cope with the disruption or demand without need to take non-market based measures. But they did also say that they passed a law on effectively the 8th of July, which basically said that it included options to launch a price sharing mechanism. So that means effectively that if businesses engaged in a new contract because a previous contract had lapsed, they weren't going to get stung with, a 10 times price increase. The legislated idea was that everyone would pay proportionally more for gas so that no single sector would get monumentally screwed, straight away.
Yeah.
But then there is an emergency phase, which has not yet been done. And the simplest term is that, in broad terms, supply to industry is curtailed first, while households and critical institutions such as hospitals continue to receive available gas. So that
Thing is, this is all very well, but have they equally gone hell for leather with solar battery storage, air source heat pumps? Like, I actually just don't know. Like, that's just a genuine question. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, no. They're trying to. So, for instance, with these gas receival locations, and I've actually got a couple of images of one of them, which is basically a jetty, and it's this, and this is basically an existing jetty, and they're going to moor a big tanker and do as I described earlier. But
I put that photo back, Harold. That photo, I just put that. I think Richard Chapman there with his shirt off.
No, that's Pete. I thought it was Pete.
Oh, sorry, it's Pete.
It's Chapman with his shirt off.
No, I'm on the bench.
Oh, okay. No, okay. That makes sense.
So
I'm probably
one example, and this is only a quick preview. This is nowhere near as good a study as the Talking Tesla guys, if and when it gets published. But an example of the effect that it can have is in Germany, the cost price of what was called an example or exemplar vehicle, like a reference vehicle, was 42 euros in energy cost to produce one vehicle. They're talking about Q4 2022, it being 730 euros.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's like nearly 20 times the energy cost.
Is that same modelling as Qantas is doing with their fares, Harold?
Pretty much.
20
much.
times. So they stole that from Alan Joyce. Little Alan Joyce caught that up. Yeah, right there you go.
So if you want to see how those prices went, and this actually applies to retail customers too. This plot shows you the in black is the gas price, and in teal or green is the electricity price. And you can see it's gone from a rounding error, well below 100 euros for whatever, a reference, whatever it is, megajoule or whatever, up to many times, 4 or 5 times higher, 6 times, 7 times higher.
And the electricity price is linked to the gas price. So
yes.
So what's going to happen here? They don't want us to spend any money. Inflation's going through the roof. House prices are going to come down.
So
milk's going to go off in your fridge.
Well, one of the things that's going to happen is if I've got this link right, they say that in Germany, the normal amount of cars that are built in Germany is about 4.5 million. They're predicting that there'll be 1 million less vehicles built in Germany as a result of the energy crisis.
Which is the part of inflation, wouldn't it?
Well, so this is the plot here. So they're talking about 1 million car deficit with utility restricted production.
Let's hope that's not Tesla.
Well, Tesla will fall into that category because they're relying on a lot of the gas. Their plant, make one how green is going to go with this expansion because they had enough trouble with the stage 1 of the plant.
They're not going to get into this problem because when I open my trusty little reference sheet.
Yeah, you talked to this a while ago, didn't you?
Yeah, we go to, let me just put this link over here. We'll go to Tobias Lind and
hi there, and welcome to a
what? So this is some of the castings, and you can see they're actually on gluts. So what this is in Brandenburg. This is Giga Berlin, and they're basically making as many as they can, and they're storing them. And
they've been doing that for a while. Yes.
Actually, if I go to the next video, I've just got to change this. And of course, Joel and I were doing this much better and much smoother than we're doing it right now. But
hey, Pete, do you think the inflation will come down?
Yes. See, this is one of their back parts where they've got a ton of them, and as you move along, we're skipping forward a little bit. There's another section here. Here, where they've got another lot, and that's not all. That was courtesy of the Wolfpack Berlin, and that was on the 5th of November. There's another video. On the 5th of November, this is the same area, but this one is really interesting because as it pans up, if you look up here where this mouse is wiggling, you'll see this little forklift guy, this guy here, and we'll just skip forward a little bit. He's basically got 5 gigacastings in a frame, and they're about to stack it and make another stack. So they're literally casting these things as fast as they can and storing them wherever they can. And
they're storing them on factory sites before they built the factory.
Well, you might go, okay, well, that's just Berlin, so what? Well, then if we go courtesy of Joe Tetmeyer, and this is Austin Gigafactory, and you go, oh, look, there's another lot of castings, right? And they're in frames, and they're also stacking them. And these are many hundreds, if not thousands of castings. And put it this way, Giga Austin has only produced in its lifetime 20,000 Model Ys. And, there could be a quarter as many just sitting there as castings outside, right, in frames and being stored. So we have got another couple of videos of that. Then you go, oh, okay, well, that's Giga Austin. What about Shanghai? So this video is courtesy of Met God in Wilderness, and great channel, highly recommend it. And look at that, there's some more castings, and it's like,
it's not up, Harold.
Oh, sorry, apologies. I go, look at that, more castings, and there's just stacks upon stacks upon stacks that they're basically storing. And what they're doing is basically like our little friend, which I've just got up.
Future proving.
Well, they are, and what they're doing is they're doing this. Once I get it up,
so Pete,
not so smooth. They're doing. They're doing this. So they're storing their nuts for winter.
Oh, they're sucking on their nuts.
Well, you know, that's what Tesla's doing. So what Tesla's going to be doing is exporting a proxy for energy from Austin and Fremont, and also currently using the energy that's available at Berlin to make castings, so they can insulate themselves from this all but certain gas crisis.
Well, they're certainly predicting it, aren't they? And gee, they must have a lot of parts in those stockpiles they've got there.
Yep, and in fact, at the Q3 earnings call, there was this question that was posed by Martin Viecha, and it goes like this.
The next question is, we keep hearing of dire energy crisis in Germany this winter. What are Tesla's plans to combat power cuts, and will there be any delays in ramp up in production from Giga Berlin because of this?
Yeah, I can take it. I think 2 points on this question. The first is that, based upon everything that we know, we don't see this as a large risk to the company. Even if production did go down for a period of time, this is all near term. It doesn't have any impact on the long term of the company.
But we have no indication whatsoever that we will have to cut our production in Germany.
No. And we put in place backup plans, and we're working through the supply chain as well. Nearly all of our suppliers are prepared as well. So we'll see how this plays out, but it's not something that we're terribly worried about.
And there you go.
That's planning, isn't it?
That's planning. And Tesla's famous for it. When the silicon chip microprocessor crisis occurred, they basically retooled and adapted very quickly. Whereas all the other car manufacturers basically said, well, you're not going to get a touch screen in your car anymore, and other things. Tesla just powered on.
They're very nimble, aren't they? It's unbelievable how nimble they can be.
Yeah. Yep. And they have to be, because if you're going to conquer the world, you've got to be better than everyone else,
Which they clearly are.
So my question to Pete Pascofsky: are we going to be out of a what do you call it?
Recession.
No, not recession. Not that word. Are we going to
Inflation.
get inflation under control?
Yes.
Will we get? And when will that happen? And how high?
Hang on. I was just Nostradamus just hung up on me, so I can't.
Oh,
tell
did
you.
you? Okay. Can you get him back? Can you get him? Bring him
And that
forward?
glass ball's a bit murky, but no, look, very hard to say, but in my opinion, and Harold, you might need to press that button again. But yeah, in my opinion, yes, I think inflation, I mean, if you have a look at some of the leading indexes, they're already starting to turn down. So, so I think the risk is that the reserve banks around the world go too far.
They always do, because they have to, because they're always looking at lagging indicators, Pete. They always go
They're trying to
too
get
far.
inflation down by people not spending money, but we're about to go into Christmas, and people spend more money at Christmas time than they ever spend. People overspend at Christmas. They always buy more shit than they need to buy. So it's not a really good time to be saying, well, inflation's out of control, but we're going to go Christmas. We're going to spend all the money.
And we might have a two-speed economy like we always do, because
we
our
do.
median house price is $535,000.
Yeah.
The median house price in Sydney is over $1 million. That's effectively double.
Yeah.
So for every percentage rise in interest rate, the people in Sydney pay twice as much extra per month.
Yeah.
Than we do.
And the nurse that works, the nurse gets $85,000 a year as a nurse, and then the guy who works on a mine is picking up $140 a year, working on the mines.
You got to feel
two-speed.
You got to feel sorry for
Definitely
some of those first home buyers that took the governor's word as gospel and have stretched themselves to buy their first home, and now they're paying double for their more. And if you stretch yourself in the first place, there's only that far that you can stretch before cracks appear. So
But blind Freddie could see they couldn't maintain those rates down where they were. You didn't have to be a genius to work that out.
No, definitely.
What's that saying, that the one thing that man hasn't learned from history is they don't learn from history? And this this has happened time and time again. It's just,
Yeah.
you know.
I don't think we'll go into recession, but I think the rest of the world, I think America will.
Well, I think the UK, they were predicting recession through to
definitely, they're
2024. Like
Yeah,
all of
they're
23 is in recession, and even I think parts of 24 will still be in recession.
Yeah, they're talking about recession, definitely.
Well, Perth house prices have to go up because the immigration there, it's out of control in this country, and WA is the worst culprit. There's nowhere to
and there's
now. It's ridiculous.
And there's more.
Yeah, we let all these Richard Chapmans. We let all these Richard Chapmans in. And
Why do you think I came here? I want to get away from them, and then they'll keep coming here.
I can understand that.
I mean, the two richest people in the world, Gina Reinhart, richest people in Australia, Gina Reinhart and Twiggy Forrest, both live in Perth. Richard Goyder sits on the board of every board member, Qantas, bloody everything, lives in Perth.
And Richard Chapman.
Richard Chapman drives that electric train down in Bunbury on that pier. Toot toot train.
Hands up, anyone in this room that is more than a first generation Australian. In other words, they've got let's say both parents. They've got both parents who were born in Australia.
No, my mother's English. We came out with when she stole the apple.
Jared, my great grandmother was Bridget Ryan, and she was handpicked by the finest judges of England and invited to go to Van Diemen's Land, as it was. So thank you very much, great grandmother Bridget, because without you, I wouldn't be alive. Anyway, on that happy note, so actually speaking, we're talking about, downturns. So, there is some evidence of this already in Tesla land, whereby in China, Tesla have reduced prices for their cars, but subsequently they've now also only a week or two later introduced an insurance discount for people buying Teslas. So
and they've reinstated the referral scheme as well. They've reinstated that in China too.
How much is the price in China, Harold? You got prices?
Oh, they dropped it by about $2.5 grand on average per car.
And then
so basically back to where it was when you first ordered it. So when you first ordered the Model Y, that's the price that it is now, compared to it being up $3,000 when we first released it.
No, it's still a bit more, because it was about 3,500. So and I think they decreased their prices by about 2.5. So yeah,
I'm sure I've read somewhere.
And then it's only for.
Hang on, Jared. Wait, Jared, go, Richard.
I was just going to say, I'm sure I read somewhere that it's kind of might actually cause a bit of a problem for domestic Chinese brands, because now that it dips just into the subsidy bracket, that makes it a lot cheaper, or substantially cheaper. And now the Chinese government might look at it and go, hang on a minute, this foreign upstart that we've allowed to be here is just going to dominate our local brands. So that's an interesting little way of playing out.
Isn't that why they reduced some of the prices?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
NIO are reporting a lot of cancelled orders.
Mm.
So that points.
Sorry, a mate of mine that's Chinese that said he said in China Tesla are known as the catfish, because they'll just like dominate and like destroy everyone else.
Right.
Sorry, Howard.
No, totally good.
Chinese people really afford to buy a Tesla? I mean,
there's 1.5 billion of them. So if you only have a fraction of a percent, that's enough.
Oh, okay. Because I thought most of the standard wage there was like $8.
There's still a lot of wealthy people.
It's not India.
An awful lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Jared, if a Chinese person says that you're 1 in a million, that actually means there's 1,500 people just like you. So, So
that's a worry straight away.
Jack never gets old.
Harold's on fire tonight. He's on fire.
So yeah, that basically points to a downturn in China, and blind Freddy can see that's happening. You know, look at iron ore prices
I was just
falling
going to
away.
say actually, so we have. I mean, obviously we have minimum weekly leader meetings and all that, and we're
Gina,
we
direct with Jen.
Yeah, sure.
That's classified.
But we watch the iron ore price like a hawk. And there's all different spot prices and discount prices, and there's all and different blends and stuff. So, there's definitely decisions are made based on analysis that's, predicting the further out iron ore prices. So down to $40
a ton, isn't it? $30 a ton.
Don't think it was
80.
80.
It's 80.
It's
at the moment.
88.
It's
No,
in the
but
80s.
I've seen it as low as $40 a ton.
Not now.
No,
not
not
now.
now, but before I've seen
Not in recent
a
years.
couple of years ago it was at $40 a ton. And I've seen it was $195 a ton.
It swings. It swings.
Yeah, definitely swings.
Put it this way, as anyone would, Richard would openly admit, and it's obvious, if you're selling it for $190 a ton, you're kind of making money. You're kind of making a bit of money.
Jen says it's still tough.
I'm going to put in a bit of a, I mean, I'm not like company man or anything, but because Roy Hill's a private company and because we're being able to bank the good times and pay off all the debts and then just build up a nice big kitty, it's actually more of a problem for the likes of FMG and BHP that are beholden to their shareholders. So projects go ahead or don't go ahead based on the share price. Whereas for a private company, you're like, okay, whatever. So.
And Richard, I just got Twiggy on the phone. He just says, fuck you. He just, so Twiggy,
Hey,
tell Richard
Twiggy,
to
I
go
love
fuck
you.
himself. Richard,
FFI.
and he's ringing the immigration department. Something about your flight's going to be ready earlier.
Yeah. The flight going underground.
The flight going back to the motherland.
One of you now. I had to open loads of boxes of Weet-Bix until I eventually found a passport.
Oh, there you go.
So it could be troubling times ahead for Tesla. Some of the analysts, including retail analysts like Rob Mauer, are sort of saying, and he is an eyes open Tesla bull. I think he'd self-describe himself as that, but not as a fanboy, but as a retail analyst and a shareholder. And he does not mind openly admitting or conceding that it's right to question what might happen to Tesla's future margins, which are ridiculously high by automotive standards at 30%. And it makes sense to question, well, are these margins maybe going to come back to, say, 20%, which is still ridiculously high in the industry. But the great thing is that if Tesla's margins go to 20%, what the hell do all the other car manufacturers' margins go to?
They won't have any.
And it'll be debt. It'll be losses.
Well, Toyota already facing that massive lawsuit.
What's that lawsuit?
About to start. Yeah, Toyota's getting sued for that, saying they, the Hilux and all those did that burn off, and it's all been done. And it wasn't done.
Is that the catalytic
DPF burn off thing that they did, and there's a massive
is
action, and they've
this
won.
yet
and
more testing?
they have to pay out, and that's going to cost them millions of dollars, billions. So, which is going to hurt them. They've got the money, I'm sure, but they're still going to hurt them. So it's a massive class action.
It's going to be interesting times.
Definitely.
But the thing is, Tesla will always be the strongest company.
Yeah.
And the most driven to maintain results or to be ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
And if there's a global recession, that's actually a time when most companies, good companies, do really well.
Right.
Because they're the ones that are strong.
Some of the biggest, longest lasting companies have been started during business down cycles.
We had the pandemic.
Tesla being a perfect example then.
we had the pandemic where some companies went under, and then some companies like Woolworths and Coles outseeded their profit long by 20 shot. So It's very interesting.
But like you say, Pete, I mean, Coke was started
during
the Depression, basically, which is, you know, that's even much worse. None of us have lived in a depression, you know.
Well, yeah, last week was pretty like a
depressing.
Yes.
I'll come round and give you a cuddle. That'll make you really depressed.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't know depression until you got a cuddle from Richard.
Especially he's been working on the mine all day. If you got a cuddle from him, he's been out in the tools all day and he's come back with that big BO. Oh, jeez.
You're not wrong, Jared. You're not wrong.
You know that cuddle for sure. So.
Dearie me. All right. It's getting on a bit. Have we got any other subjects that you want to broach before we start?
I'd like Carmen to start rolling up a bit earlier. If you're missing the news at 7:30, Carmen, if you could make a bit.
But I stay up late.
I know you do. So actually, good point, Carmen. You do always stay up late. Where a few of the other stragglers can't manage to stay up
So
late.
tomorrow morning I'll watch the beginning and see what I missed.
Yeah, well, that's where the cutting edge stuff is first thing in the morning. I mean, the first part of the show.
Yeah.
If I was really good, I'd actually be able to replay the beginning of this show now, but that would kind of be a bit of a loop. But that might confuse a few people, actually. But it might depress them because they go, God, we've watched 3 hours and what, are they doing it all over again?
Yes.
And also, Carmen, we did miss you last Wednesday at.
I did.
I
really
know. Look, you don't have to explain. I totally understand that you would never know where a suburb called Belmont is, because you know Belmont to you is like.
No,
airport.
I do because it's on the way
okay.
to the airport.
That's right, the airport, Belmont. You go through it, so you don't understand where Belmont is. It'd be a whole. But the next one that we're having is at Peppermint Grove, so you'll be fine.
Oh.
Know where we're.
Is there a pub there?
We're going to find one that's there that we can sort of
There is.
But most people can't afford $180.
There's a good pub there. There's a good pub.
Oh, cool. Well,
I did mean to come, but I had a minor emergency with being required as a grandma. And and yes, and I didn't make it. It's a bit annoying, actually.
Oh, that's
missed you guys.
There'll be another one. The next one will be on a Sunday, so that'll be in early December.
Cool.
And of course we've got our annual general meeting on the 19th of November. So that's
It's
at the
diarised.
Careen.
I have a ticket.
Cool.
You don't need a ticket for the Careen Hotel, Carmen. It's not. It's not.
No,
there's
it's just to register so that we know how many people are coming, so we can give
I
numbers.
followed the system, Jared.
Yeah, I've forgotten to do it. I don't think I've done that.
I don't think I've done that either.
Please do read your email, or
I just read it, but I think I've put it off. I don't think I've done it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Everyone's there voting.
If you haven't actually booked, it doesn't. I mean, you can still just come. Obviously, it's just nicer if we know how many, so we can let the venue know what to prepare.
We expect all paid members to be there.
I'll be there about 8 hours early.
You'll be there for a proxy. You can send a proxy in replace.
I'll actually just have a look how many have registered, and if it's a lot, I'll tell. And if it's not, actually no, we've got 29. That's not too bad. That's all right.
It's 2 weeks out. So.
Put me down.
No, I can't put you down. You just got to, you got to do it yourself. I can't.
Okay, I'll have to do that
it's
tomorrow.
too hard, to be honest.
No pushing in, Peter Ship. No. Green Hotel, mate. Got to line up.
And it's a little bit earlier because there's an afternoon booking, so it starts at approximately 10:30. The pub actually opens at 10, so we've sort of decided to pick 10:30, and the meeting should be relatively quick, as all good AGMs are, and then we'll just have an informal lunch and a couple of drinks, that'll be it. Early lunch.
We're going to put on a bit of a sideshow where we couldn't get any of those midgets that we throw at the dartboard. So that's been scrapped. I just want to say that.
Little people.
The little people have been scrapped. We were going to replace them with Pete's kids because they're still little. We could throw them, but they're too big now. So We've still got to work on a few more things. Maybe a dunking machine. Get Rob, our president, on the dunking machine. You throw a ball and falls into the tank of
Into a
water.
hot vat of molten aluminium before it goes
that's-
into the casting machine? No?
Jeez, that's a bit extreme. Touch a bit extreme there.
Well,
but yeah.
we're just going with what's available, I would have thought.
So yeah, there's.
I think the other thing we should re-emphasise is the fantastic work John did with his rally car, and Jürgen and Andrew. They presented fantastically well on some of their videos. And I think it's a credit to
Is
the whole
Peter Harris
setup.
on that as well?
Yeah, he is.
Peter Harris is on that as well, isn't he? He's driving on
Yes.
that.
Yep.
He's
So-
driving trucks.
Yeah, but it was a
To-
fantastic effort.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And to be brutally honest, there were so many news items. I think there were 9 news items, and a couple of them came quite late. And I had intended to put the Tokeva thing at the end, and I literally ran out of time and then got distracted and forgot about it. And I also had in my mind, because I'd spoken to John Edwards earlier today, or was it yesterday? I don't know. And I do intend on having a fair slab of a show dedicated to him explaining everything that happened.
Yeah, that's good.
So I kind of got distracted, and then just time went away, and I had to basically present that a little bit later in the program, as you saw.
Yeah.
But yeah, it certainly was a massive effort.
Well, that'll
And,
make a fantastic show in itself. Be really good.
Yeah, it'd be good if we get Jürgen on.
Yeah, well, he presented
Yeah.
extremely well as
We can
well.
get
But
him
Andrew and him were fantastic. I thought what they did.
I agree, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah. I reckon we'd try and get Harry on one of the shows, Harold. Harry from
Harry.
Tesla. We wouldn't just get him on one Wednesday night. It'd be
Yeah,
great
yeah,
for-
Harry. No, look, Harry would be great, and look, Harry does watch his program, as does his line manager Elon. And
Harry doesn't watch this fucking program.
And, no, and Harry, actually, Jared, you would be surprised who watches Tokwa. Actually, Ask Us Anything,
Really?
but
Okay.
not necessarily to the whole end. Some people just
Well,
watch the
stop
end bits
calling
because
it
that's
a
the
lawyer.
juiciest. That's the juiciest bits at the end, and the crusty bits.
Yeah.
But Harry would be great on the show because we go, so Harry, when's Model X going to come out? And you go, yeah, I can't tell you. Don't know. And then we'd ask him, so what do you think about supercharger rollout? Oh, I don't know. And it'd be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome. It'd be cool.
That'd be great. Maybe we can say, Harry, where do you get that haircut? Like, and your real name is Lloyd, and no, you should get Harry on. I think it'd be good to have him on.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Torture.
Well, we could start the celebrity invite every week.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe start something like that next year. It's a good
Well,
idea,
for our 200th show, I've already booked Elon. So
yeah, he's
and-
replied. I'm too fucking busy.
look, he said I'd rather do the 199th show. I said, look, Elon, I'm not doing odd numbers. If you don't do the 200, it's just not on, mate. Come on. So we'll see what happens.
I would have thought he'd want to do the 169th show.
Yeah, he's doing that live from his private plane with the new hostess, Svendelot.
He'd do it in about the 1 hour, 30-minute mark because that's the 169.420
I don't
episode.
think Elon would go that long. More like about 39 seconds. I reckon it'd be all done.
Well, he's got Starlink on his Gulfstream
On his
now, so
back.
we could
Oh,
do
yeah,
a live
true.
cross.
You do
There's
have
no
to
excuses.
remember it's 1
Didn't he just buy a new
million per
plane?
minute.
1 million a minute.
$1 million a minute.
What's that? Is that what Elon spends on Twitter?
No, that's what he quoted he earns. That's how much it costs.
Anyway, I just want to
Sure
sign
does.
off with tonight. My heart goes out to the guy that walked into the service station in America and filled up his car and he bought a lotto ticket and he's walked away with $3 billion. My heart goes out to him tonight. And the problem that he's facing right now with what sort of cars he should buy, what sort of house he should buy, because $3 billion doesn't get you very far. So
Doesn't. Well, I was sleepless at Elon's prospect of having less than 200 billion. So how could he cope with 3 billion?
Yeah, that's terrible. That's a shocker. That's a real.
This guy didn't realise how many cousins and nephews he had.
Yeah,
Soon find
and
out.
they're going to take him to court to prove it.
Yeah, fucking 1-800-SUE. Love America.
So is that for real? $3 billion.
Correct.
It was the biggest.
Biggest lottery win in the world, although it's in America apparently. Jackpotted for the last 3 months, and yeah,
Wow.
he filled his car up and bought a ticket, and you know, thought nothing of it. And he's won the whole lot, one winner, and yeah, he's going through those struggle times. I mean, what helicopter do you buy? These are questions that really would really.
But
you know,
do they pay him out, or do they pay him off so much a month?
in America, don't quote me, but I'm sure Harold's probably googling the shit out of it. Right now, I'm pretty sure they pay tax because we don't
Yeah,
pay tax
they
with
might.
lotto.
Yeah.
wins, but I'm pretty sure they pay some sort of tax.
No, there's something about if you take a monthly stipend or
Yeah,
something like there was someone
that,
who got done for tax because they took it monthly, but that might have been Australia.
yeah, but
I'm
you
not
can't
sure.
live on 20 million a month. That's just fucking scraping the barrel. 20 million a
Well,
month.
that's $3 billion is 15 million Tesla shares at the moment.
Yeah, right. Okay. So you think
So
he
maybe
got-
that's what happened. Elon sold them. He
maybe
sold them
put
to this
that
guy.
money- Maybe. I doubt it very much, but yeah, I'd say that this guy's right now has got some serious problems going on in his world. And
Well, I suggest go Pete.
People that win $1 million or more on Lotto end up giving it back within 5 years.
Oh, they go bankrupt.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
sad story.
Yeah.
a lot of sad stories on that one. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this guy, I feel sorry for him now. He's going to have a lot of hard decisions. So, but yeah,
Is it the 100-meter yacht? Can you get those anymore, or
maybe.
And what if you could afford to have a custom A380 aeroplane built? You go to Airbus and they
no,
say,
that's-
"Sorry, we've
well, that-
stopped production."
Yeah,
But I got $1 billion.
Aren't they a billion? Are they just over a
No,
billion?
no, oh no, they're only
A380
in the hundreds of millions, like
Oh, I thought they were
300
the one-
million or 200 million or something. They're not- they're
Oh,
not.
in that case, you get a custom one.
Well, you get
And
a
then
couple,
do
so
something
different
really
colours.
stupid like- Well, you can have an ice skating rink on the top platform.
Maybe a his and hers.
A what? His and hers.
Yeah.
Come on, it'd be his and hot lots of them, which is another word for lots of women. His upstairs and palace downstairs of women, you know? And then you'd have the wipers, you know? You'd be like, wipers! And out come the wipers. Just like coming to America. Yeah, that's pretty scary. Scary. Yep. So yeah, 20 million a month. That'd be pretty all right, I reckon. You know?
This aviation. There's actually, I haven't got time to do it. I'd have to prepare later. But actually, here's a little snippet of an aeroplane.
See, if I won $3 billion, I'd move to Dow Keith, but I'd end up moving next to Twiggy. But see, I only have $3 billion. Twiggy's got $140 billion.
Well, look at this. This is a private. This is a private jet.
Oh, that's terrible colours.
Look at how beautiful the finishing, the decoration, the completion, the design.
Oh, that's
People's
awful.
houses together, I can tell you.
I hope he doesn't come with it.
No, he's the guy that tours around all the planes.
Many of
This is the dining room.
What plane is it, Harold?
I'm not sure.
Well, that's a bit better.
It's your standard Sultan of Brunei plane.
Versace.
You got your bedrooms. Look at that. You got
okay.
his and her bedrooms, opposite sides,
Oh, yeah.
opposite ends of the plane.
You know they never block the windows, Carmen. Do you know that? You know, on commercial planes, they don't block out the windows. Do you know why?
Why?
Because if the plane crashes, when they cut the plane to get in there, they've got to see through the window to make sure you're not there before they go through with the chainsaw. That's why they have windows, so they can look in. They don't close those windows out. Only
But
on
look, you
cargo
got-
planes, they black them
You
out.
got Citadel completions, Tabasco sauce.
That's cheesy.
Well, apart from the
Oh.
Versace crockery, the fit out is not too good.
That would annoy me, laying in bed like that with that girl sitting next to me all night. That'd be just so annoying.
Oh, look, the shower works.
You go back to the shower?
He got wet. Strangely so. There we go.
Oh, look at that.
So
That's only a double bed. I couldn't sleep with that. I want a king. If I got my 3 billion, I want a king. I'm not doing no double.
there is actually a better one than that, but I just can't find it in the 20 seconds I allowed myself. But yeah, we'll have a minute silence for the gentleman that won $3 billion. But hey, I mean, look, we're on Ask Us Anything, and we really are the true winners. So who needs money when you can be on Ask Us Anything?
Unlike him right now, that's probably in some Palace Hotel in Vegas with,
And
20
you don't have so many
20
problems.
blonde girls on an hourly rate. Some Mexican guy called Pablo who's dropping off some marching powder to keep him going through the night. He's got problems at the moment. He's just dropped about 50,000. That's all. Bit of loose change. What a night.
Speaking of dropping, let's see what the
Oh, down again.
187.
oh, getting cheaper. 188, 2 fat ladies and 96 cents.
That's American dollars though, Harold.
It is US dollars, yes.
So
Yeah.
it's still 8,000 Australian
Well, about 230 anyway.
when you do
Yeah.
the exchanges.
So Tesla's on sale. That's okay. We just ride the dips and in 5 years' time it'll just be a vague memory.
This is
It
when you
won't
want to
matter.
be buying shares, Harold. Buy more shares.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
But if we had any money, if we weren't already fully
Yeah.
invested,
Yeah, true.
hindsight,
Well,
Harry.
If you got a lazy thousand laying
Well,
around,
what about buying the MSWA lottery? That may be a good thing.
yeah, but that's not 3 billion come, that's 3 million.
Doesn't matter. It's a
It's-
start. It gets you a few Tesla shares.
Yeah, will actually. Yeah, 3 million it'll
more
probably
than
get you these days. 3 million. 0.72 divide times. Yeah, it'll get you well nearly 11,000 shares. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yep. It will
That's not
make
shabby.
the average a little bit better.
Yes, your dollar cost averaging, it'll be not my portfolio would be a lot cheaper than it is. So yeah.
Mine especially.
Oh well. Okay, on that
Remember that
No,
day that it
no,
was
no.
850 or something. Yes.
well, the 12-month, the all-time high was 1,200 pre-split, so that's 400, isn't it? Is that right? So we're about 50%.
And that's
That's
a part
okay.
of the thing though. That's a part of the deal. You go into the share business, you go up and you go down. And then we'll go back up
Yeah.
again, and then you'll be riding that wave.
Hang in there.
If you start cashing out now, you're stupid. You just got to ride
It's
the
only a
wave.
question of timing.
Exactly.
Well, if you had bought shares at the top in 1987 before the crash and sold it at the bottom of the GFC, you still would have made a Klondike of money, like, in that time. Between
Didn't you work
the
it
top
out,
of
Harold?
sorry?
Didn't you work it out? It was you put down $20,000 at the start, and you said that over the period you would have walked away with $50 million or something.
No, I think I'd worked out if you'd say put down $2 million in
two-
Tesla shares at, say, let's call it 2011-ish.
Yep.
Before Tesla got to its all-time highs, that would have been worth about $150 million. So let's say 75 times your money. So call that, if you put down $1,000, you get $75,000. You put down 10 grand, you get $750,000
That's not bad for 10 grand.
for not doing a lot of work,
For doing nothing.
But that's
Yeah,
hindsight,
yes.
Harry, is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
Um,
Okay, Jared, Trivia
Yes.
question. What is the world's most livable city?
Melbourne.
That would be Tasmania, I reckon, because they've got a
Oh, Carmen.
24-hour Kmart.
It'd be in one of the Nordic countries.
I think
The Nordic countries.
I think it's actually Vienna.
Oh, yeah, Vienna.
How stupid of me.
Top
I,
rank.
I was actually thinking maybe
it used to be Vancouver. But
no, this year.
it's Vienna.
This year
Yeah.
is 2022. Vienna, followed by Copenhagen.
Lithuania.
No, Denmark and Zurich.
Actually, I
Yep.
think
So
Melbourne.
they're all
fell down a
German
lot.
cities.
Sort
They're
of,
all
yes.
European.
But
They're
I
all
don't know if the
European.
Danes would think themselves as German, but it's near
Yeah.
enough for us.
It's close
Yes.
enough to German.
Yeah. Well, European anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, so we don't rank too well. So there is Copenhagen, Zurich, Calgary, Vancouver, Geneva, Frankfurt, Toronto,
Oh, yeah,
Amsterdam, with
Frankfurt.
Osaka and Melbourne tied 10th place.
Did you read in that? Because I do remember when this ranking came out a few weeks ago, and they were talking about it on Talkback Radio, strangely enough on the ABC. And
Not when you're driving.
in the comments, I forget which organisation does this ranking, but they actually said that Perth ranked below Melbourne
Yes, it did.
because of its weather. And it's like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Who
because
said
of its.
that?
They said they did, and that's what was so ridiculous. They actually said they scored Perth negatively with
Yeah.
respect to Melbourne because of its weather, and it's like,
Carmen,
You gotta be kidding me.
Carmen, this magazine that you're reading, this isn't one that you get from the service stations called Dolly, is it? This is.
That was a long time ago. My daughter was 16 when Dolly was around.
No, I'm talking about.
This
Is that what you're reading now? or-
Wikipedia. Wikipedia,
Oh,
my
sorry,
dear.
I thought you might have been
I'm
like.
on the mobile phone.
Oh, I thought you'd be quoting the
That-
Dolly or
They
something.
don't consider traffic as one of the factors when they, because a lot of these cities, the traffic would be horrendous.
Oh,
You
100%.
know, Osaka, Melbourne,
Oh, terrible.
yeah,
Perth doesn't have traffic. We got nothing here. There's nothing like Melbourne or Sydney.
You live in Belmont. You don't go up and down the freeway.
Yeah, Belmont's different though. You know, you go up and down the free up. Yeah, you don't go the freeway. The city's very close.
Now, this is about livability. This is about,
Because coffee's in Western Australia the most expensive in the world.
if you can't go from point A to B in your city, you know, surely that goes towards livability. It's not a very good city if you can't go and see your mother or your mate that lives, you know, 20 kilometres down the road because it takes you an hour and a half to get there.
yeah,
Well,
and it's
100%,
not, it's not only about traffic, it's about a value for lifestyle and all sorts of things.
yeah,
What do you mean,
and
like,
you can see why Vienna sort of would win on a lot of
Oh.
that for things
Oh,
like getting
Vienna-
around the city,
Vienna,
because
Vienna's amazing.
And
because
Same as
this is a geographic map, approximate map of their underground, and this is the Danube, right? And that's Stephansplatz. It's St. Stephen's Cathedral. But if you just compare that with the
is
actual,
that where you're staying, Harold, when you're there?
yeah, I'll show you where I'm staying in a sec.
Is that your accommodation?
So this is Vienna. This is actually Greater Vienna. And I mean, if we laid over Perth, Perth is massive compared to this. And you can then just get the underground map, and you can go on the underground anywhere
Yes.
in
But
Vienna. And
also-
that's the underground. That's not the trams. They've got trams on top as well.
Yeah, but also, and the trains are very good, but as well as that, they've built office buildings, and all the office buildings have metro stations underneath. So
Yeah.
people don't have to go before work, they can go straight to the office.
Wow.
And if it's raining, it doesn't matter because you can go straight up into your building.
Yep.
Carmen,
Yeah. So Jared, basically where I am is
oh, were you staying?
here on Osterlandstrasse, which is just near the
Oh.
Prater. So the actual
Of
train
course,
station
Ostland's-
is Mesa Prater. Osterland means exhibition,
Okay.
and that's
Exhibitionist
actually
or
it's an exhibition. No, not exhibitionist.
not exhibitionist? Oh, okay.
And that's one of the only east-west traveling what's the names, and where I'm staying is literally
In the red light district?
No. There's an underground entrance here, and there's
And they
another
call it
underground.
the back door. Lord Harold.
No. See these little mushrooms? That's actually the main hall of the underground, and there's an entrance here, and there's an entrance here, and where I am is just in between these two, basically around here. And
then
you just
nuclear
walk.
power plants in front of you? Is that what those round things were? They were smokestacks of the. It's
No.
beautiful. No, I've imagined. I've never been to Vienna, but I imagine.
Oh,
it's
it's beautiful. And this
Yeah.
was done by the report is from The Economist, by the way.
Yep.
Not quite Dolly.
Not quite
It's not
Dolly.
Dolly? Oh, okay. What about that other credible magazine called That's Life? Is that in there as well?
Oh.
Gold.
But yeah. So anyway, but I mean, I'm
We're
going
gonna
there
be
in the
coming
dead
live,
of.
are we?
I'll be live from Vienna. Frustratingly, I won't be able to bring Starlink with me, even though I physically could. It's just that it won't work because it's an Australian service. So, but I'll just be tethering off, mobile phone or something. And I did that from the Gold Coast, and that worked quite well with my mobile setup. So I'll be doing that for 4 weeks.
The trouble is the timing is not so good because I was always busy at that time.
Well, it's about
Lunchtime.
It's about
2
lunchtime.
2 p.m.
Yeah.
But what do they have like in Vienna? Is it like do they have crepes like in France, or do they have wooden clogs like in Holland, or
They have schnitzels. Yeah,
is it
Wiener Schnitzel.
Oh, watches. Wrist
Or
watches.
Zwiebel Rostbraten, which is great, and goulash, Leberknödel, super.
That sounds like something with a head on it.
No. What happened to Sacha Tort?
You get
Sachertorte. Yeah, Sachertorte. Yeah. And you've got to get that from the Hotel Sacher because that's the only original one.
Just like to what you're saying in Harold, do they have a safe word? Like if you walk in the wrong room and there's all rubber sheets and that, do they have like a safe word? Like
you should go. No, you should go to
the or something bad like that.
You've got to go to the Criminal Museum. They call it the Criminal Museum, and it's got all these torture devices. It's got heads of people that have been hung, have been decapitated.
I saw it in a castle. It was awful.
Oh yes. They have it at Salzburg, I think, in the castle. They've got various torture devices. I'll be there for a month. Yeah, 4 weeks roughly. In the dead of winter.
In the same spot.
Oh yeah, well, Europe's small, so we're going to go to Salzburg for a couple of days. Then we're going to go to Prague for the Christmas markets, which is only a few hundred k's away, or whatever. Basically.
Train ride. Yeah.
No, we're going to drive. We're going to drive. But yeah, Central Europe is small. You can fit most of it in WA, if not all of it. So, but it'll be good. It'll be interesting to be in the dead of winter, where it hopefully will be snowing a bit, and yeah, it'll be good.
Beautiful.
And ask us anything. Yeah, like you say, Carmen. It's only in Vienna now. It's early afternoon. It's actually no. It's 10 to 4, so it's quite nice. It's like mid-afternoon.
Late lunch.
Yeah, exactly. Then I can have my Hefeweizen, and that you buy for €1 a 500 ml bottle at a time at the deli. You just walk into a supermarket and just buy that. You go to the checkout and they've got little 30 ml bottles of scotch and gin and whatever, right where the chewies and lollies are for the kiddies.
Yeah.
Not as cheap as Spain. You can buy spirits for €9. I'm talking about a litre bottle, and wine from €3, really.
Yep.
And
it's amazing.
Richard Chapman's back off to London, and he'll be I guess lining up at the soup line because over there the food is so expensive.
Too expensive.
You'll be lining up, can I have another bowl of soup.
You'll have a black pudding.
You'd be telling Emma it's a beautiful restaurant and you have to line up to get in. Yeah, it's really good.
More, boy! More!
You'd be staying with the family to get it right. So.
Alrighty, it's getting.
It's time for peace, isn't it?
Yes, I think Pete's
with my mum.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, Richard, will you be here next Wednesday? No, you'll be home by then already.
That's it.
You'll be in the UK by next Wednesday.
When are you leaving?
By Saturday.
When do you go?
Oh, awesome! Well, safe travels.
Yeah, back for Friday night, 7 o'clock. Yeah,
fantastic.
Oh, you're on the Friday night, 7 o'clock. Cool.
Well, if you've got a minute on the road, just hop in and say hello from the old country, if you like.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. But my mum's in sunny Bournemouth on the south coast.
Have you downloaded the app so you can do the language conversion?
I only speak Australian.
How you going, mate?
You
play it back like
good cans.
Good geezer. No worries.
Tally ho, cobber. I'll pop into old Charlie Boy and have a cup of tea and
enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy it, Richard. Yeah, so.
Absolutely, we miss you already.
It's gonna be busy, only with the rifle.
Absolutely, absolutely. Alrighty, so it is getting late. It is time to say goodnight. So, Pete, how would you round out this awesome show?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
The best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join TOCWA, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy.
And making the future awesome.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
And don't
good night,
buy
everyone.
Cars. Keep the inflation down.
Good night, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Good night.
See you guys. Cheers.